Great Voyage, Rob Nami onto the boat. Author, Naruto. Start. Chapter 1. It's a really bad world, and it's only a bloodline theory of fate. If you don't let it go, you can only become Wang Luffy's younger brother, stepping stone, and background board. But in the world of the strong, there will never be a seat for the weak. Since I am here, let's turn the world upside down. The year 1520 of the High Yuan calendar. East China Sea, Zailuobu village. At the top of the hill, the handsome white feather with short black hair looked at the lively celebration scene below and murmured, "Big brother Baiyu, what are you talking about?" "What, little brother?" Background board. The girl with light yellow shoulder-length short hair and a light blue dress trotted over, her bright eyes flashing, and she asked curiously, "Nothing. Why did you come here?" Baiyu looked at the little girl who stopped panting, and couldn't help but stretch out her hand to wipe the sweat on her forehead, and said softly, "Kia, if you're not feeling well, take a good rest. The wind is strong on the mountain." Well, Baiu's gentleness caused Kia's face to blush, and then she smiled cutely. "Big brother Baiyu, when you were exercising on the mountain, two groups of pirates just came. One of the people is very good. Luffy and the others defeated the remnants of the Black Cat pirate ship. I sent them a boat. We are celebrating going to sea. Big brother White Feather, let's go to the banquet together." "It is good." White Feather nodded. It was time for him to set sail. In Kia's exclamation, Baiyu hugged her and jumped down from the top of the mountain. "Don't be afraid, it will land soon." Looking at Kia in her arms, she looked scared, but with the bright light in her eyes, Baiyu couldn't help but chuckle. "Well, I believe in big brother Baiyu." Kia's eyes brightened a bit. Since the moment she rescued Baiyu a year ago, her life seems to be a little more colorful. A year ago, White Feather is wearing a pirate world. It happened to fall into a coma in the courtyard of Kia's house and was rescued by the kind Kia. At that time, Kia's parents had just been mutilated by Chloe, and she was too sad to be sick, and she was unhappy all day long, which made her already weak body even worse. The appearance of Baiyu brought light to Kia, and her body gradually improved, and agreed to go to sea together to be his beautiful ship doctor. It's been a year. While falling, memories flashed across Baiu's eyes. Wearing the pirate world for no reason, his body just returned to his 16 or 17-year-old state inexplicably. After a brief panic to understand the situation, Baiyu quickly accepted the reality. But the pirate world is too dangerous, especially the housekeeper of Kia's house, Clabter, and the captain of the Black Cat pirates, Chloe. At the moment when Baiyu fell into Kia's house, if Kia hadn't discovered him first, he might have been killed by Chloe. After all, Chloe would not allow any accident to be planned. Fortunately, White Feather has a system. After waking up, the system is turned on. Newbie gift package, primary physical enhancement card, primary swordsman growth experience card, 3-color domineering primary ? After strengthening the physique, combining the experience of the swordsman and domineering, Baiyu was too lazy to talk nonsense, and hacked Crow to death on the spot. After killing Chloe, Kia fell into a coma with sadness, and only after she woke up did she realize that Baiyu had not cut the wrong person. The following year, Baiyu worked hard, perhaps because of strength or the food in the pirate world. The height has grown from 1 meter 8 to 2 meters. You can work hard for a year. In addition to the overlord color and the knowledge color inexplicably becoming stronger, his strength can only be mixed in the East China Sea, which makes him always have a sense of urgency. After all, no matter how handsome you are, you can't eat it. With strength, you can have everything. The Straw Hat Pirates who just went to sea, landing on the ground with ease, Baiyu took Kia's hand and walked towards the banquet venue, her eyes flashing with excitement. "Finally waiting for you." White Feather's system is very special. Very bad. There are 2 system functions. 1. Every time you snatch a story beauty to become a crew member, subordinate, no matter whether it is true or false, you can draw a random lottery in all worlds. There are no restrictions, items, abilities, characters, etc. And there is a chance to optimize it. 2. It can integrate all the strengths of the crew, subordinates, and continue to integrate permanently, including physique, spirit, ability, combat experience, etc. Although it is not stipulated that all crew members, subordinates are women, there is a chance to draw a lottery only by grabbing women. Drama beauty. Basically in the big power, the Navy, Revolutionary Army, 4 emperors, Kyuhai, etc. Thinking of these forces, Baiyu felt very exciting. This is the rhythm to offend all forces. Let the storm come harder. Baiyu glanced at the system panel that only he could see. Host, White Feather. Physical fitness, Samsung. Spirit, 4 stars. Swordsmanship, Samsung. Armed color, elementary. Seeing and hearing color, intermediate. Overlord color, intermediate. Special abilities, none. Number of draws, none. Basic combat power, Samsung. Headquarters Elite Major General. Additional combat power, none. Remarks, beginner, intermediate, advanced, top. Note, combat power does not equal destructive power. West Rob village coast. A small boat was docked on the shore, and the Straw Hat Pirates and the villagers were having a lively banquet not far away. The foodie with the hat, the green-haired Lukai, the long-nosed big talker, and the orange-haired fortune fan. Do you know that I, Captain Usopp, got on your ship, but you ... cough cough cough. When Usopp was about to brag while drinking, he suddenly saw Baiyu coming from a distance. His face flushed with a cough, and exclaimed, "It's him, it's him." Luffy asked curiously, "Who is it?" Usopp hurriedly lowered his head and whispered, "He's Baiyu. We only defeated the remnants of the Black Cat Pirates, but I heard that he killed Captain Crow with a knife." A knife? Zoro touched the knife subconsciously, and looked at Baiyu with glittering eyes. "Wow, that's amazing, I think." "Woo woo." Luffy was yelling, and Usopp covered his mouth. Usopp said nervously, sweating profusely, "Don't say it. He is a monster. I once saw him split a hill from a distance." He said he was terrified at the time. Since then, she has been far away from Koya's house where Hakuba lives. Chapter 2. Hear what Usopp has to say. Zoro was excited. Cleave the mountain? Swordmaster? Nami was startled. She couldn't help but look at Baiyu 2 more times and asked, "What mountain? How big is the mountain? Is it true?" But at this point, a ferocious figure flashed across her mind, and Nami's eyes couldn't help but dim, and she murmured, "No way, no mountain can do it. Those hateful guys can't be defeated by humans." Just as Zoro stood up, Luffy yelled, "Right now!" Dozens of meters away. Baiyu suddenly stopped, looked at the curious Kia and said, "If we go to sea, won't we have one less navigator?" Yes. Kia nodded, thinking about whether she could recruit people with her banknotes ability. "Kia, listen up. Since you have decided to go to sea with me, you must know that except for the Navy, all pirates are our enemies, and some kindness is unnecessary. Going to sea is just around the corner. It's too slow to find the qualified navigator. Since there is none, then grab it." Baiyu opened his mouth and slowly drew his knife. When Kia was surprised, a terrifying aura rose from Baiu's body. In an instant, the world lost its color. The invisible force started from the white feather, swept towards the front frantically, and the air was neighing. Boomerangs crossed the coast in an instant. Plop, plop. The villagers fell to the ground one by one, and Usopp also fainted with a roll of his eyes. Shocking for a while. Usopp, Luffy and Zoro exclaimed, and they only felt their brains buzzing and humming, and they didn't even need strength. "Damn, what is this?" Zoro held the knife tightly and wanted to rush towards Baiyu, but he couldn't raise his strength. "How can that be?" Nami covered her mouth in astonishment and looked at the people around her who fell to the ground in disbelief. "The two of them are not in a coma. Is it because they both have the aptitude of Overlord or mine is too weak?" It was the result of Hakuba's control that Nami was not in a coma, but Luffy and Zoro were not in a coma, which surprised Hakuba. "Isn't this period when they are at their weakest?" Even Wang Luffy and Liu Xiaolong, who just went to sea, are not dizzy. "This is not qualified. My goal is the whole world." Boom! Exclamation mark. Suddenly, the aura on Baiu's body suddenly became more than several times stronger. There was a violent storm in the sky, and the earth was cracked under the terrifying momentum. Crack cracker. The sound of the ground breaking sounded one after another, but Zoro and Luffy's brains suddenly went blank. The sudden increase in the Overlord color made it difficult for Baiu to control the direction and range. Puff, puff. Nami and Koya fell to the ground one after another. How big is the heart? How strong is the Overlord? As the only domineering arrogance that cannot be strengthened through training, at the moment when Baiu decided to take action against the world protagonist group and aim to capture the world, the Overlord color has been strongly upgraded. Overlord color, advanced. Still refuse to fall? I won't give you time to explode. Glancing at Luffy and Zoro who still insisted on not falling, Baiu drew his sword and rushed over. "I stole the navigator. Damn, I'm going to beat you up." Looking at Baiu who was rushing towards him, Luffy's head instantly sobered up, and he threw his fist out angrily. Sauron also drew his sword at the same time. Late. Baiu's eyes were sharp, and he waved the knife directly. Cross-cut. Hey! The cross-shaped wound suddenly appeared on Luffy's body, and the power on the knife revealed, and even led Luffy and Zoro behind him to fly. Baiu stomped on the ground, the after-image flashed, and chased the two who flew out. Blade flips. Bang bang. At the moment when the two fell to the ground, the back of the knife slashed on their heads one after another, hitting them hard. Fainted on the spot. Baiu looked at the two fainted indifferently, bent down and picked up Sauron's 3 knives. Writing with Daoi, "I want this knife." Kai Kai. The other 2 knives were inserted into the ground above their heads. White Feather turned around and left. There is only one reason not to kill the 2 of them, Nami. Although the current Nami has not made up her mind to mix with Luffy, and even thought about stealing the boat sent by Kia. After all, the evil dragon has not been solved yet, but they are still friends. Between strangers and friends, Nami must choose friends. However, it will be different from now on. Halfway down the road, White Feather paused. "Want to cut 2 more knives?" It is really uneasy for Baiu. The protagonist group tight will explode, and they are all locked in blood. Don't go out to sea. The 2 of them chase after them screaming, and they have to waste time. After all, the 2 people were stunned successfully this time, entirely because they were caught off guard. If it was a normal fight, The current Beiyu might not be able to fight the two of them together. PFFT, puff. Just do it. Beiyu went back and made a few knives for the two of them, and the blood all over the ground stained the ground red. After confirming that within a few days, the two would not be able to fight, Beiyu left with confidence. Ka, wake up. Go and say goodbye to Lee. Pack up, and we'll go to sea in a while. Beiyu woke up Kia and didn't explain much. It was already agreed to go to sea. Kia glanced into the distance and whispered, Luffy and the others. They're all in a coma. Well, then let's go to sea together. Kia didn't ask much. Compared to the Straw Hats who had not known each other for half a day, Beiyu was the family. When it comes to going to sea, Kia gets excited. Going to sea. Seeing Kia who was jumping and running home to say goodbye to the housekeeper Lee, Beiyu also smiled. This frail girl since childhood, but very longing for the outside world. White Feather has nothing to clean up. He picked up the unconscious Nami and jumped on the boat. What about the Straw Hat's ship? What's the matter with my White Feather? After an hour, the villagers woke up one after another, and Usopp even more tremblingly hugged Luffy and Zoro who were still in a coma and left the coast, far away from Beiyu. Beiyu, you must take good care of Miss. If something happens to Miss, I must. Bottom Lee gritted her teeth and looked at Beiyu. How could she dislike Beiyu? Even though she knew that Kia was going to go to sea, Mealy was still worried. The sea was too dangerous. Beiyu waved his hand directly and said, I stole Kia. You. Lee was very angry. In his eyes, Kia was coaxed and taken away by Beiyu. Kia immediately comforted, Mr. Lee, big brother Beiyu is joking. Mealy could only sigh. Just when the two were talking, and when Beiyu was about to say something to Nami who was squatting in the corner and shivering, the sound from the system made him move. Ding, the host snatched Kia to become a crew member. Subordinate, congratulations on getting a chance to draw a lottery in Myriad Realms. Is it a lottery draw now? That's okay too? White Feather was surprised. He just deliberately said that he stole Kia, just to try it casually. After all, Kia voluntarily boarded the boat. Then there is no chance of a lottery. But how did it work? Is it because the housekeeper Lee thinks that Beiyu stole Kia? Forget it. It doesn't matter. After all, the system is just a dead program, and it doesn't answer any questions. Start smoking. Ding. The Myriad Realms lottery starts. Chapter 3. A turntable appeared in front of Beiyu's eyes. Displays, creatures, items, abilities, information, concepts, energy. 6 plate turntables. Soon, the pointer stopped at the ability column. When the turntable disappeared, Beiyu felt that he had seen countless worlds. The various strange abilities displayed by countless illusory figures. There are too many abilities that make Beiyu envious in front of him. It's a pity that Beiyu can't call to stop. Only random. Ding. Congratulations to the host for winning the innate ability. Teleport. Beiyu raised his eyebrows slightly. Teleportation, space class ability. Click on introduction. Teleportation, space jump. 1. Within the range of the host's perception, ignoring obstacles, teleporting at will, and following the heart. 2. The host can carry things that do not exceed its own power, ignore obstacles, and teleport within the range of perception. 3. The host can leave spatial coordinates on the path location and on the creature, perform teleportation beyond the range, and return to the coordinate location. Above, consume stamina. Upgraded version of Flying Thor. After reading the introduction, Beiyu expressed her love. Why follow your heart? As fast as he thought, Beiyu became the fastest man in the world. With this ability alone, Beiyu's combat power, speed, and life-saving ability have greatly increased. After all, there is a saying, you can see, but your body can't keep up with me. How about seeing and hearing color capture? At the moment of capture, Beiyu had already changed his position, and his body reaction could never keep up. As long as White Feather's attack power is strong enough to break through the opponent's defense, the battle is only for a split second. One cut off. Tasting the sweetness of the lottery, Beiyu was instantly addicted, and looked at the cautious Nami with burning eyes. I'll just say it once. Be my crew, or else I will. Don't kill me. Before Beiyu could finish speaking, Nami immediately shouted, without the slightest hesitation, but was even more afraid. She didn't want to die. Knowing Luffy only a few days ago, 100 million has not yet been collected, the dragon is still living arrogantly, and Nami has too many dreams yet to start. Ding, the host robbed Nami to become a crew member. Congratulations to the host for getting a chance to draw a lottery in the world. Whether it is true or false, Beiyu is very satisfied. Ah, very good. Beiyu smiled brightly, her eyes softened, and said softly, don't worry, my crew will be my family. As long as you don't betray me, everything is easy to say. Understand? Little sister Nami. Nami nodded quickly. In my heart, I have scolded Beiyu as a pig's head. Bastard. Big bastard. Little sister, how tall are you? Scared the old lady. Devil bastard. Fortunately, White Feather does not know. If she knew what Nami was thinking, she would definitely mess up her hair, which is really not cute. Go. Well, here we go, Mr. Lee, goodbye. Shortly after the Golden Mary left West Lob Village, Aurora sounded off the coast. Damn it, I must beat you up, fight you 100 times. Luffy was covered with gauze all over his body, and he hammered the ground angrily and weakly. This time he was really angry. Nami is his chosen crew member. Although Nami has always been perfunctory, he believes that time will create bonds. After all, when he was a child, he was despised and looked down upon by Ace at first, but he still became a brother. My knife. Zoro's eyes dimmed a little, then he became firm and said seriously, disasters always follow. This is the common sense in the world, Luffy, did you hear it? Next time, I will never lose again. He doesn't want to say that he is not ready, careless, etc. If he loses, he loses. This little ordeal could not destroy his heart. Only Usopp was still shivering and couldn't help interrupting his blood. The boats have been taken away. How do we go to sea? Luffy, Zoro, tired, destroy it. Sea, really boring. Especially Beiayu, who became a temporary boatman, listened to Nami's command to sail the boat even more boringly. Are you a pig? Go over there, idiot, you have less strength. The rudder will be broken by you. Hey, you can't even sail, so kill yourself. Nami was like a demon possessed, and Beiayu's eyelids twitched wildly as she roared. Kya, who was reading the book, couldn't stop laughing. Revenge? This is definitely revenge. Especially before every roar, he secretly glanced at Beiayu's expression, and then continued to roar, unable to stop. Do I need to do this all the time to start the boat? Beiayu was helpless as he pressed the rudder, and he couldn't even start the boat without people. Nami regained her confidence, put one hand on her hips, holding the juice in the other, and shouted from a distance, you think the boat will move on its own? If you don't control the rudder, the direction will be chaotic. Chong. Beiayu thought for a while, and drew his sword instantly. Nami was startled, and immediately hid behind Kia. Hey, what are you doing? Didn't you say everyone is family? You lied to me. Whitefeather ignored. Insert the knife directly on the rudder, and fix the direction. At least when the direction is not adjusted, just fix it. Nami was speechless, but he found a blind spot. But he still couldn't help saying, you can only stay like this for a while. The sea is full of wind, and the direction will be chaotic at any time. I know. Beiayu walked over and sat down, took a sip of the juice and said, since everyone is a family member, let me introduce myself. Name, age, hobbies, dreams, etc. Kia comes first. Chapter 4. Kia put down the medical book and smiled sweetly. My name is Kia, I am 17 years old. I love reading, and my dream is to become a doctor. I hope to cure all patients and make all kind people healthy. Yes, I believe in Kia. Beiayu clapped her hands in encouragement, her eyes filled with tenderness, and Nami pouted as she watched. It's your turn, little sister Nami. Humphrey. Nami snorted and said casually, Nami, 18 years old, loves bees. Cough. When Koya didn't know what to do, Nami hurriedly interrupted with a cough, and then said, I like to grow oranges, I also like to eat oranges, and my dream draws a map of the world. At the end, Nami lowered her head. When she thinks of the evil dragon pirates, does she still have a chance to realize her dream? Beiayu glanced at the low Nami, and said solemnly, Beiayu, in terms of physical age, it should be 18 years old now. Wait a moment. Nami suddenly looked up and interrupted, and the corner of her mouth twitched. How old are you? How old are you? 8. Haha, I'm in July. I'm older than you. Hurry up and call my sister, little brother Beiayu. Nami was inexplicably excited and even jumped up, her face full of confidence and pride. Kia couldn't help laughing. Sister Nami is so cute. Beiayu has a black line. Sorry, I said August is Kia. I am January. La, you are from August. Nami didn't believe it at all, and puffed out her mouth angrily. Kia raised her little hand. Sister Nami, I am really August, and Beiayu never lies. You are helpless. Nami rubbed her hair in distress. Is it really good for such an innocent and kind little sister to come out as a pirate? Beiayu ignored it and continued, hobbies are normal men's hobbies, dreams, and become stronger than anyone else. Nami was a little confused. So, what exactly is a hobby? Please clarify. I know. Kia raised her hand cutely and said with a smile, Big brother Beiayu said that a normal man has 5 hobbies, power, wealth, fame, strength, and beauty. If you don't have one, you're not a normal man. Seeing Beiayu nodding, Nami complained, who doesn't want it? So what is your hobby? Beiayu said word by word, I all want. Nami was speechless. Kia's delicate little face suddenly flushed red, thinking to herself, she should be considered a beauty. Does big brother Beiayu want it? It feels so unreliable. Nami is a little tired. What kind of people have she met these days? A stupid-looking straw hat, with a idiot with Lukai. She will let her be a crew member when she opens her mouth and shut her mouth, and she has to let a long nose who doesn't have a word of truth on board. This one is even more ruthless. If you don't get on the boat, you will kill people. With a cute girl who is soft and frail, can you walk out of the East China Sea? Never mind. Throwing away her thoughts, Nami asked casually, you keep talking about going west, Where are you going? I'll make an accurate route. Cocoa West Village. Oh, I'm familiar with this. Having said that, Nami's expression was sluggish, and she did not recover for a long time. Looking at Baiu's serious appearance, Nami's voice trembled. Why did you go there? Baiu stared at Nami's eyes and said, listen carefully. In the waters of the East China Sea, except for a few people, any pirate group is not my opponent, even if evil dragon pirates. Boom. In one sentence, it exploded in Nami's mind. He knows everything. This is Nami's inner thoughts. In Baiu's eyes, she feels that all her secrets are revealed, which makes her overwhelmed. But no matter what, she couldn't suppress the fear of the dragon in her heart, and Nami couldn't help roaring. You know what? That's a Murloc, born with 10 times the power of a human, let alone dozens. Don't go there. You will die. They are invincible. Talking and talking. Nami squatted helplessly on the ground. The memories of the past flashed through her mind one after another, and tears filled her face. Perhaps there was an extravagant hope that someone could defeat the dragon. But as time passed, the fear deepened, and the invincible posture of the dragon became more and more profound. No one can defeat the dragon. This is the truth that Nami has summed up over the years. Sister Nami. Seeing Nami like this, Kia was a little flustered. How could that big sister who even dared to scold Baiu suddenly became more vulnerable than her? Kia squatted down and hugged her involuntarily. Sister Nami, don't be afraid. No matter what difficulties you have, Brother Baiu and I will help you. We are family. Family will die too. When it comes to family, Nami thinks of her mother, and dares a little more. See here. Baiu did not say anything. No matter how strong her mouth was, it couldn't erase the fear in Nami's heart, which was the accumulation of 8 years. System, start the lottery. Ding. It is detected that the host has seized Nami as a crew member, subordinate, and the lottery in the world begins. 6 major sections. The pointer stopped in the item column. Baiu couldn't help but look forward to it. What he needs now is to become stronger. It would be nice if he came to a time room or something. Go in and practice for 2 years, and at least become stronger by a large grade. Ding. Congratulations to the host for winning the item. Random Devil Fruit card 2. Ding. Trigger the optimization mechanism. Is it optimized? Devil Fruit 2? Baiu couldn't help but rejoice. Kia's health had always been his concern. He was frail and sickly since childhood, and accumulated over the years, resulting in a very poor health. There is no way to recover from exercise. Therefore, Baiu's first goal is to help Nami solve the aftermath, find a doctor to cure Kia's body, even if it returns to a normal state. East China Sea does not. Then go to the Great Root. System, are the fruits of the lottery drawn in this world or set by you? Will the eaten ones appear? Will there be phoenix fruits? Baiu asked in his heart for a long time, but did not reply. Really a dead program. Chapter 5. Optimize it. Ding. The optimization is successful. The devil fruit you smoke has no side effects, and you are not afraid of seawater and sea tower stones. Baiu is very satisfied. This is enough. Open 2 cards. Ding. The devil fruit card is now open. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining devil fruit 2. Nature Department, Yunyan Fruit. Superman, Restoration Fruit. Yunyan Fruit, One Piece World Specialty. Rare long distance flight ability, can incarnate, create clouds, and create according to the characteristics of clouds, sea clouds, island clouds, thunder clouds, etc. Restoration Fruit, crystallization of the outer worlds. Restore everything. Deep level development can involve concept restoration. White Feather was silent. The Yunyan fruit is fine, but restoring the fruit is simple and terrifying. Or the crystallization of the outer world. Prove that the pirate world can't stop it. This reminds Baiu of a woman, the heroine in the anime Death God, Orihimanu. Vientiane rejection versus all things restoration. In someone's words, it cannot be explained by the degree of time restoration and space restoration, and it is a complete violation of the ability of the realm of God. After calming down, Baiu looked at Nami. The perennial fear makes you think that the dragon is invincible, but in fact, in the Great Root, except for a few Murlocs, the vast majority of Murlocs and Mermen are being human beings by uncell bullying existences at will. They have no status in human society. The so-called power of 10 times that of ordinary people is only for ordinary people. It just so happens that the most important thing in this world is extraordinary people, and the evil dragon is just a piece of garbage that fled from the Great Root to the East China Sea to make a fortune. I can give you more power than a dragon. Do you want it? Nami raised her head and looked at Baiu blankly, but he didn't speak. Obviously he didn't believe it. Baiu turned his hands over, and a strangely shaped fruit appeared in each. Kia said in surprise, this is a devil fruit? The legendary devil fruit that sells at least 100 million? Nami stood up directly. Her eyes were so bright that they even turned into the shape of berry. Mine. It's all mine. Before Nami could speak, Baiu handed over one of them. He didn't need to eat it, and the fusion of the crew's strength had no side effects. Seeing this scene, Nami couldn't believe it. Are you giving to me? It's worth. How much is it worth? Baiu stood up and walked to Nami. Putting the devil fruit in her hand, Bbook rubbed Nami's head lightly and said, "In my eyes, you are priceless." For a moment, Kia seemed to see that Nami's eyes turned even redder, and tears fell silently. Stop deceiving people. Nami didn't want to show her inner fragility in front of Bbook, so she quickly wiped away her tears, held the devil fruit tightly, and said mercilessly, "Maybe it's fake, you big liar." "Ugh, big bastard. Why do you say such touching words?" The momentary touch in her heart made Nami unforgettable, and she suddenly wanted to hear a few more words. Bbook's voice suddenly floated. "There are two kinds of priceless, one is worthless, and the other is immeasurable." "Well, you are the first." Rush. The next second, Nami's furious fist slammed over. "Bastard, give me back my touch." PFFT. Kia laughs beautifully. This little fist is really hard, and Bbook couldn't help but be surprised. "Is this the legendary natural armed color? Okay, eat it. Don't think about selling it." Looking at Bbook's undeniable and threatening eyes, Nami's heart is bleeding. How much money is in one bite? Enduring the pain, Nami took a bite. Ugh. Pook. As soon as she took a sip, Nami's face turned blue, her eyes rolled round, and she kept retching. "What is this? Is it really edible?" Kia's little face was also pale, because she saw Bbook handed over another devil fruit. "Does she want to eat it too?" Bbook lightly pinched Kia's little face, and said softly, "This is different. After eating it, your body will be better, trust me." Kia nodded seriously. Without hesitation, she took a bite, and Kia's big eyes suddenly lit up. "Well, it's delicious." Seeing Kia's expression, Bbook knew that the fruit of recovery from the crystallization of the outer world. Very sweet. Really? Kia eats so deliciously that Nami doubts her life. White Feather is looking forward to it. The second function of the system, integrate all the strengths of the crew, subordinates, naturally including abilities. He just needs to blend, no need to eat. "Does your body feel anything?" Bbook said to Kia, then looked at Nami who was rinsing her mouth, and her face suddenly turned pale. "Don't throw it away. It will only be effective after eating." "Do you think I'm an idiot?" Nami stared at White Feather on her hips. Bbook didn't listen to it, although it is said that one bite is enough, but who knows if it will affect whether or not you eat it all. So if you don't want to have any defects in the future, just throw it away. Okay, I'll eat. Taking another bite, Nami rolled her eyes. But watching Kia eat more and more deliciously and quickly finish it, Nami really suspects that her devil fruit has been manipulated. Ugh, big liar. Fruits are divided into natural, superhuman, and animal systems. Yes, the natural system can be elementalized. After explaining the characteristics of their respective abilities, seeing Nami's eyes getting brighter and brighter, Bbook threw a fist over. "This punch, feel it." Boom. Before Nami could react, the whole person was bombarded, turned into a cloud. Kia watched the scene in amazement. It was amazing. Nature is not weaker than people. White Feather also feels amazing. Don't feel that you can ignore the natural department if you are domineering, otherwise you will underestimate the natural department too much. Don't say anything else. Passive elementalization, actively advanced elementalization. Both of the above are different. Chapter 6. I can't control myself anymore. A cloud turned into Nami's appearance and fluttered everywhere in panic. Okay, you go to the room to float first, and your lower body becomes a cloud and learns to fly before you come out to practice. Amase captures Nami, and Shiroa sends her back to the room. Recovery. Kia showed her ability to an apple that had taken a bite, and a magical scene happened. Apple is fully recovered, and it seems like a time elapse, but it is not. Even after drinking half of the juice, it returned to a full glass. Brother Bbook, this ability is so powerful, I can treat anyone in the future, even if I break my hands and feet, I can recover directly. Kia trotted over, her face was full of happiness and sweat. Bbook chuckled and said, "Don't always care about others, you need to heal your own body first, and remove all your illnesses and accumulated problems. Looking at your sweat, ability will consume physical strength, and you will need to exercise hard to become stronger in the future." Kia nodded obediently. "Well, I want to develop the ability to restore physical strength." "So smart." "It's entirely possible." Bbook does not ask Kia to become stronger, as long as she is happy, and restoring the fruit can make Kia absolutely harmless in the future to a certain extent. And many more. Thinking of something, Bbook stopped Kia, pointed at the table and said, "Dry, can you restore that?" It should be. Can't be. Kia was a little surprised, her eyes widened, because White Feather means devil fruit skin. The leftover peel of the two women. Can this be recovered? Is recovery still possible? Okay, I'll try. Kia was also looking forward to it, and extended her abilities to the only remaining skin. White Feather looked carefully. When a light flickered, Yunyan fruit ... restored, from skin to whole fruit. Dry. In Koya's excitement, Bbook took out a fish from the fish tank, peeled a piece of Yunyan fruit, and stuffed it into the fish's mouth. Then, squeeze hard. Bang. As the fish turned into a cloud, Kia jumped up in exclamation. It's really possible. At the same time, what? There was an exclamation from the room, and Nami ran out in a panic. Ability, my ability is gone. Koya, Beiayu, fish? The results are obvious. The fruit is restored, but the power is restored. Maybe it's impossible to recover the other one, or maybe Kia's ability has not been developed in depth. Therefore, Koya restored the fruit again. Let Nami eat again. Woo, it's so unpalatable. You all bully me. Nami ate the fruit again with tears in her eyes. She said that she would never forget today. It was too unpalatable. And Beiayu saw the future. Simple restoration, allowing the ability to recover. If the concept is developed, then it can definitely be replicated. Two women test abilities. Beiayu also returned to the room. System, start fusion. Beiayu took a deep breath and got ready. Ding, the crew, subordinates Nami and Kia have been detected. Start the fusion of strengths. A halo appeared out of thin air, shrouding the white feathers in it, and the rhythm of the layers above was very strange. Physique, spirit, will, potential, memory, ability, talent, wisdom, battle awareness, battle experience, above, etc. Everything related to strength and Beiayu needs, began to integrate into Beiayu himself. This feeling is intoxicating. The fusion process is also a process of taking the essence and removing the dross, such as memory, and Beiayu is basically browsing at the speed of watching a movie. Combat awareness and experience, only choose the most suitable. The same goes for others. After an hour, Beiayu opened his eyes and murmured, "These are only two weak women. If I had thousands of subordinates." On his knees. Fusion is not a one-off, meaning, White Feather can continue to fuse Nami Kia's stronger strength, and if she dies, the fused one will not disappear. Host, White Feather. Physical fitness, Samsung. Spirit, 4 stars. Swordsmanship, Samsung. Armed color, elementary. Seeing and hearing color, intermediate. Overlord color, advanced. Innate ability, teleportation. Special abilities, Yun fruit, healing fruit. Number of draws, none. Basic combat power, Samsung. Top Major General of the Headquarters. Additional abilities, 4.5 stars. General candidate. Note: base combat power does not count any superpowers. Alternate General. Beiayu was surprised. The teleportation and recovery ability blessed him too much. If any conceptual capabilities are developed, the combat power will have to increase sharply. Certainly, just like the previous note, combat power is not equal to destructive power, and White Feather's damage is not enough. It's just that the combat power has arrived, and whether it can be beaten depends on who the opponent is. It is very important to generate and overcome each other. Crack. Beiayu severely snapped his fingers. Restoration fruit activates. Injury heals. In an instant, Beiayu's fingers recovered. Even if you have just acquired the ability. If you have broken hands and feet, you can recover. It's too strong. What if the fruit awakens? What is conceptual level restoration? Shaking his head, Beiayu didn't think much about it. In short, if Beiayu becomes stronger, as long as no one can kill Beiayu in seconds, many people can be dragged to death. Physical strength, injury, hunger, fatigue, spirit, etc. The above is directly restored. If 10 days are not enough, then play for 10 months, and Beiayu's stamina will reach the first place. Still working hard. White Feather is very clear. Ability is ability after all. Even if the ability is terrifying, even if you can control time and space, don't be too confident. Physique and domineering are the foundation. 3 days later. Big brother Beiayu, are we back now? Kia looked at the house in Zailuoba village with some surprises. Nami was also stunned. She was still floating on the sea 1 second, and returned to Shiroba village the next moment. Well, we'll come back later if we want. White Feather just experimented with a teleport beyond the range. After all, he left spatial coordinates in Xilob village. Experiment result: it did not consume much physical strength. Maybe the distance is not far, and it will be tested another day. If he could teleport back directly from the new world, then Beiayu would leave spatial coordinates in the whole world, and he could go wherever he wants in the future. Okay, let's go back. Reaching out to hug the two girls, Beiayu teleported back on the boat again. Chapter 7. Another 4 days later. Coco West village is a few hundred meters away. Beiayu worked hard on the deck to build strength. Physical strength and fatigue recovery have been developed. So, Beiayu can keep exercising without stopping. Kia is also exercising, basic exercise. And Nami, who is flying around in the air, has completely liberated the temporary helmsman of Beiayu. Because airplane mode. Nami created a small island cloud, towed the boat completely, and controlled the island cloud to fly in midair. Alternative version, Sky Pirates. However, Nami is not strong enough and lacks physical strength, so she can only control Shima Yunfei for a few hours. But with Shiraha and Koya around, Nami's physical strength can be restored, so theoretically, Nami can travel around the world with a boat. Beiayu praised, "Nami, you did a good job." Humphrey. Nami immediately puffed up her mouth and said fiercely, "Why don't you make Island Cloud tow the boat? You also have Yun fruit." "I'm exhausted." Although the two women didn't know why Beiayu had their abilities, it was better this way. Beiayu said while exercising, "Of course I'm exercising you, remember, You will solve the evil dragon. Hearing the dragon, Nami suddenly became serious. How strong can you get in a week? The basic combat power has not been increased, but Yun fruit has increased the combat power by leaps and bounds. Nami said that she could kill the dragon 100 times because she was too easy to develop Yun fruit. In other words, Yun fruit is a perfect fit for Nami. With a strength, Nami has confidence, and the fear of the dragon has been eliminated directly, and the rest is all hatred. Baiyu continued. Also, don't keep your hands on the enemy, don't throw a party like an idiot. Got it, it's so long-winded. Nami pouted, listening to it 100 times a day. Just fight the dragon? How is this possible? It was her mother who died. If she didn't kill the dragon pirates, Nami felt that her heart was not smooth. Ka, you go too. Well, I see. Kia clenched her small fist, her eyes firm. Baiyu said, remember, this time you only need to sit on the clouds and see blood. You can't beat the Murlocs. Let Kia see the big scene. You go. Hakuba directly seized Nami's control over Shimayun and floated the ship into the air of Kokoyashi village. Cool. Nami took a deep breath, continuously making various clouds in the air, and then making a small cloud that dragged Kia to fly and swoop down. Koko West Village. In an ordinary house, Nuokigao was watering the orange tree and glanced at the sky inadvertently. So that's a boat? Nuokigao's eyes widened. The ship didn't fly very high. If you look up directly, you can only see a large cloud flying over. If you look at it from a distance, you can see the boat on the cloud. Nuokigao saw the ship, and also saw an orange figure flying from the sky. The figure was all too familiar. Nami, how could it be? Nuokigao was about to run out when he suddenly stopped because a figure appeared in front of him. Baiyu waved his hand casually and said, Nami's sister, right? When we meet for the first time, I will take you away. No one can see it. Come and shout for help. Nuokigao. Now, inside the Dragon Park, dozens of Murlocs are having a lively banquet. The octopus is cooked. Everyone eat it. Xiaobalu danced with his hands and ran around. The Murloc took the takoyaki, touched his jagged nose and laughed. Ha, count the time. Should Nami come back? I don't know if this lowly human has enough money. Kruby smiled disdainfully, as expected of an inferior creature. I can believe any word. Boss Eren, if we rob Nami of 100 million, what if she commits suicide in anger? What a navigator. The Kada tweeted and laughed. Suicide. Then let the whole village give her a funeral. Eren's voice was full of coldness. Sure enough, Baiyu is right. You all deserve to die. The crisp and cold drink that suddenly came from the air made the fish people below stunned, and they all froze when they looked up. Nami stood on a small cloud. Her eyes were cold as she had never looked down, and her fists were clenched. Are you Nami? Eren was stunned. Where did she get the courage? Wrong. The sharp-eyed little eight exclaimed, Big brother Eren. Look, Nami's hand has turned into a cloud. Shut up, I see. Eren's eyes were full of anger, watching Nami's hand above him turn into a cloud and then linking to the sky, and shouted angrily, Okay, I said where did you come from to be so bold? It turned out to be eating a devil fruit. Anger. Envy. Hatred. At this moment, Eren understood Nami's fruit ability. Obviously natural. For the nature department, Eren has a deep memory. Kizaru once chased and killed the Sun Pirates, and his gestures were earth-shattering, but the aftermath alone made him unable to bear it. That is the existence he absolutely cannot resist now. It's impossible to even meet Nami. Hateful. Eren's jealous eyes turned red, and he shouted, Let's shoot together, hit the seawater in the pool, and drown her. Whoosh whoosh. One by one, the Murlocs began to hit the water, or water droplets, water columns, or water balls hit the air one after another. The higher the power, the weaker the power. Ridiculous attack. Nami's expression became more and more indifferent, and when she waved her hand at will, a cloud wall blocked the flow of water. Listen now, dragon. You can feel the pain of these 8 years for yourself. I offer you a lavish funeral. Nami didn't bother to talk nonsense anymore. She directly controlled Shimayun who had already prepared, and smashed it down. Island cloud falls. The island cloud of dozens of meters has been compressed by Nami many times in the past few days, and it is extremely thick. Like a mountain, it fell rapidly. When the large shadows swayed, the atmosphere made a hissing sound, and Eren and the Murlocs were all shocked. They don't have the strength to break it. Chapter 8. Run. Run to the sea. Eren shouted in anger. Late. Nami snorted coldly. The sky over the entire Koko West village darkened. Large swaths of dark clouds covered the sky, and slices of thunder were churning in the thunderclouds like a group of snakes. Thousands of thunders are coming. Nami waved her hand. Like the goddess of thunder, he directed Leon to release the thunder with all his strength. The villagers in Kokoyashi village were all stunned. This is like a scene of doomsday unfolding. Boom boom boom. The thunderbolts were denser than the hail of bullets, and they quickly passed through the island cloud, instantly turning the location of the evil Dragon Park into a sea of thunder. Buildings collapsed and collapsed. The screams were endless. The Murlocs fell to the ground in pitch black. Without a strong armed color, without a strong physique, the creatures are unbearable for thunder. In particular, the thunder made by thunderclouds is like natural thunder and lightning. showing higher damage. Boom! With the fall of Shimayun, it caused the final destructive blow to Evil Dragon Park. The entire building was in ruins. Nami looked down from a high altitude, making sure not to let any Murloc escape the attack range. 1 minute, 3 minutes. When the villagers began to gather in the distance, and when the villagers watched Nami, who was like a goddess of war in midair, sluggish, there was finally movement in the ruins. Get out before you die. Nami snorted coldly, removed Shimayun, looked down coldly, and condensed a cloud gun in her hand. Cough cough. In the collapsed pool, first there was a long, jagged nose that was broken in half, and then 6 hands like octopus tentacles poke through the rubble. Ah, big brother Eren, I. Puff cough cough. The dark little eight kept coughing blood, but still said, if you can survive. Cough, go back to Fishman Island. I can't. Bang. The moment when Xioba's head fell, there was an angry roar. Ugh, little eight. Damn. Nami, damn you. All of you are going to die. Eren roared in anger and grief, roaring up to the sky. Your pain, not half as good as me. Nami chose to ignore it, and controlled the cloud gun in her hand to fly down like a bullet. Whoosh! Not only that, another island cloud over Nami turned into hundreds of cloud guns, which were scattered. Whoosh whoosh! The cloud spear formed by the compressed island cloud was thick, sharp and firm, and the sound of cutting through the atmosphere made Eren's body tremble. Run! Arlong ran towards the sea without looking back. Nami didn't seem to see it, and continued to make up for the knife at the Murlocs below. Who knows if there are Murlocs who choose to play dead there. Bayu's education is still useful. Patching is important. Then is that really Nami? The villagers in the distance couldn't believe it. How long has it been since I saw you? Why did Nami come like Valkyrie? Some villagers even had uncontrollable fear of Nami, which was awe of power. Nami, so strong. As the elder sister, Nuo Kigao was only happy in her heart, and then looked at Bayu with strange eyes. Is it you? It must be Nami who you helped. Thank you, Bayu said directly. No matter how much you thank me, I still want to take you away. There is no chance to escape. Nuo Kigao, such a strange man. Seeing that Nuo Kigao was indifferent, Bayu stepped forward and picked up Nuo Kigao with one hand and walked towards the villagers. Let me go, let me go. Being held like this by Bayu, Nuo Kigao blushed and struggled. Aren't you afraid that Nami will see it? Snapped. Bayu gave her PP a slap. Stop moving. Be honest. You are so rude. How can you ask me to marry someone in the future? Nuo Kigao was about to cry. How could he fight there? Kia, who was sitting on the cloud layer, glanced at Bayu inadvertently, and couldn't help but chuckle. Brother Bayu is good or bad? Why are you always robbing women? After speaking, Kia looked at Eren who was fleeing again, and folded her hands together. A pale golden light bloomed. Location. Recovery. Eren only felt a flower in front of his eyes, and then he felt a burst of pain, as if he had been pierced by something. When Eren saw his surroundings clearly, his eyes were sluggish. Time, backwards? Exclamation mark. How is this possible? Fake. It's all fake. Eren clearly remembered that he was about to jump into the sea, a few hundred meters away from Evil Dragon Park. But he was still standing still, and Nami's cloud spear penetrated her body. According to what Big Brother Bayu said. This should be called a life of doubt, right? Kia on the cloud murmured. After a week of experimenting and researching their abilities, Bayu and Kia discovered that restoring ordinary items, as well as biological injuries and hunger, turned out to be the basic ability to restore fruits. And the physical exertion is small. Recovery? Developed in 3 hours. Restoring the position and state of other things is a little more difficult and developed in 3 days. For example, let Eren return to his original position, and he can't run away. Another example, ability recovery. For example, after Actione blasts out the magma, the ability is activated, which can make Actione return to the state before the magma blasted out. Domineering restoration. For example, Garp's use of armament can bring him back to before he was useless. Move recovery. For example, after Hawkeye swings the knife, it can make him return to before he swings the knife, and even the slash is gone. It's like going back in time. Will the enemy become a living target? All of the above are classified as status restoration applied to the enemy. Of course, Bayu doesn't know what the restrictions are at present, and he has to find a top powerhouse to try it out. If there is no limit, that white feather directly rose up. The enemy who fights doubts life. Chapter 9. Above. It's the recovery ability that Bayu and Kia have figured out in the past week, which is already terrifying. It can be seen as a retrospective in time, going back to the previous state, but it can't be explained in terms of time restoration and space restoration. It completely violates the realm of God. White Feather was amazed. This kind of fruit ability, if there is no limit, it's so buggy. It is simply a combination of countless abilities, close to the law of causality. Oya envisioned a skill, life restoration. Use it on centenarians and restore them directly to their peak state in their 30s and 40s. And unlike En's retrogressive fruit, En's ability to faint will disappear, but his life will be restored permanently, or death recovery. If successful, even without relying on pure gold, immortality surgery, etc., Beiyu and others can still live forever. I just don't know what the price will be. What if it just consumes a little stamina? But even so, there are still no deep concepts involved. This is Beiyu's amazement at the ability of this fruit. Also strong. Can you develop deeper concepts? Beiyu could not imagine for the time being how terrifying the development of the deep concept of resilience could be. Just a few days of ability development. Let White Feather's combat power skyrocket. The hard power is not enough. The ability to make up. Ho 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 tilde. In the ruins of Evil Dragon Park. When Eren was sluggish, his body had been penetrated by more than a dozen cloud spears, and he fell into a pool of blood. Look at how pitiful you are. It's really funny. Nami fell down, her eyes a little dazed. Such a terrifying Eren was solved so easily by himself. 8 years. How many 8 years are there in life? And the murder of the mother. From hope to despair again and again. Nami doesn't know how she can persevere. Well, it's all over. If someone said to her, "Don't kill, just fly away," then Nami must secretly hold vengeance for the rest of her life. Cough cough cough. Eren's life is quite tenacious. He raised his bloody head to look at Nami and said angrily, Why can't I work hard for so many years and you can't eat the fruit for dozens of days? I'm not convinced." Wrong. Nami raised a finger. To be precise, I only ate it for a week. Are you satisfied? Puff. Eren vomited blood. Died on the spot. Lively pissed off. Nami pouted. Hey, my mind is really small, but listen to the big liar, Beiyu, and make up for it. Kai kai kai. More than a dozen cloud guns filled Eren's body, and Nami didn't turn around until 2 cloud guns pierced through Eren's head. Yuck. It was the first time I personally killed so many murlocs. Nami vomited directly. Clap clap clap. Beiyu clapped her hands and walked over, admiring her. Awesome. Nami's Valkyrie is really powerful, killing so many people in 1 second. HMPH. They are not human. Nami took a deep breath, and the moment she turned around, her eyes widened. You. What did you do? Beiyu stood calmly. 2 cloud locks behind him locked Nuoki high and floated. Ajian and the others who were not far away were angry and glared at Beiyu. Beiyu said casually, obviously, I am robbing people, and I also said that whoever dares to stop whoever will die. You. Nami couldn't do anything about Beiyu, so she ran to Nuoki out to unlock the cloud lock for her. Sister, are you alright? He didn't bully you, did he? Nuoki blushed and did not speak. What can she say? Said that Beiyu was holding her to play PP? How can I meet people when I say it? Who knows the relationship between Nami and him? It's too difficult for me, sister. You listen. After sending Kia down from the sky, Beiyu looked at the villagers and said, First, the evil dragon pirates were all destroyed. It was Nami who solved it. She is a hero. Nami also blushed. Hero or something. I'm so embarrassed. Second, the treasures here are all divided equally. Nami hopes her hometown is better. Nami's eyes got bigger. Is this the white feather she knew? Third, my name is Beiyu, the captain of the white feather pirates. Nuochi Gao. I took it. Ajian and other villagers were at a loss. Nami's eyes suddenly became strange. Is Beiyu addicted to grabbing people, or is he interested in sister flowers? However, Nuoki Gao then followed and left, and Nami was relatively happy. She was worried that her sister was alone. After all, she felt safer following Beiyu's side. At last, Beiyu's voice changed, and he looked at the sea. I killed these navies. Report my name. 1. I don't know when the thunder clouds are rolling in the sky. Thunders poured down one after another, blasting the sea in front of them into waves. Several warships shattered in an instant. Colonel Mouse and other hundreds of navies, under the roar of thunder, none of them could survive. This scene once again suffocated the villagers. And Nami shouted, Beiyu, you copied my moves. Give me money. Beiyu smiled and said, by the way, the shellfish you have saved over the years. Cough, cough, cough. Nami immediately came over and said softly, what did you say? My dear captain, those berries are all my personal, you know. He looks gentle, but his eyes are threatening. Beiyu said, eat the set. Hurry up and ask your sister to pack up and go. Beiyu didn't want to hold any banquet here. It was boring. There seems to be no drama beauty to grab in the East China Sea, right? Makino? White Feather fell into deep thought. He crossed too early, only to see the protagonist group started together, and the 2 emperors ended ridiculously. After more than 2 years, who is the baby in Makino's arms? Red hair? Before he went to Windmill Village, he had an adopted daughter, Singayuta, Ace. After 2 years on top, the grass on the tomb is several meters high. Hey, it's too much to say that Luffy is too much. He knows a hammer woman. Nami, how far is it from Windmill Village? What village? Goa Kingdom. Oh, Shima Yunfei, let's go for a week. Well, I see. It's a bit far. Beiyu narrowed his eyes. For the lottery. White Feather expresses addiction. Chapter 10. After half an hour. Nokigo has nothing to do. Nami directly removed a few orange trees and flew high into the sky in the congratulations of the villagers. Nuoki Gao, 20 years old, likes to cook, grow orange trees, dreams. I hope Nami will be healthy and happy. Listening to Nuoki's simple introduction, Beiyu decided on the spot, very good, you will be a chef in the future. and Nami's cooking is too unpalatable. Nami akimbo and eyebrows crossed. What makes the food I cook unpalatable? Stop looking down on people. Do you know how to cook? Hey, stop for me. Seeing Beiyu enter the room without looking back, Nami jumped angrily. Damn, I'm so angry again. Nuokagao looked at this scene with amusing. It seems that Nami has been very happy. It's good. Kia smiled sweetly. Two sisters, let's exercise together. Okay. Back to the white feather in the room. Of course it was a lottery. I hope there will be some items related to collective strengthening, such as the time room. Beiyu looked forward to it and started the lottery. Ding! It is detected that the snatching of Nuokagao has become a crew, subordinate, and the lottery of the world begins. Ding! Congratulations to the host for winning the item. 3-color domineering analysis manual. Ding! Trigger the optimization mechanism. Is it optimized? Can this also be optimized? White feather was determined immediately. Ding! Optimization is complete. True solution of domineering, the fastest awakening. Improve the quality and skills of the 3-color domineering. When all the 3-color domineering are advanced to the top level, if the domineering is complete, you can start the fusion advancement and break the limit of this world. Overlord color, meditation, armed color, tempering method, seeing and hearing color, the method of falling into a dream. After receiving this knowledge, Beiyu was pleasantly surprised. The meditation enhancement method can not only enhance the overlord's color through meditation, but also help people to enhance their spiritual will and mind, and to a certain extent, they can awaken the overlord's color. The overlord of all members is not a dream. The tempering enhancement method is a way to give Beiyu a faster way to strengthen his body, and falling into a dream, commonly known as sleep, can also become stronger. Too comprehensive. It can increase the speed of Beiyu's strengthening many times, and there is a way to continue to become stronger after the 3-color domineering reaches its peak. This is the most important. Give me time and I will surpass everyone. Well, only in pirate world. Exercise, exercise. Beiyu walked out of the room. Passed on the foundation of domineering and true understanding to the 3 daughters. Cultivation. Well, you will strive to awaken the overlord as soon as possible. I am looking forward to it. White feather certainly looked forward to it. Although the overlord color is worthless in the new world, when all the overlord colors appear, it will definitely shock the world. Kaido will cry if the whole team is bullied. Foreseeing the future, reading hearts, true or false. The special sight made Nami look at Beiyu in a strange way. Tell me, are you eavesdropping on my heart, or reading my memory? Beiyu tapped Nami on the forehead. You think too much, and it is possible to cultivate in the future, but most of them are born, and it is basically impossible. Nami squinted slightly. Others can't cultivate. You must be able to. Stop squinting. Beiyu didn't deny it. To be honest, domineering is too comprehensive. After all, it is a system optimization. Read your heart. Terrifying indeed. Who doesn't have a few little secrets? Even if it's a little secret that fathers, daughters, and husbands and wives have to hide, everyone has them. However, Beiyu was very calm, and still said, to be honest, I have read your memories a long time ago. Don't ask how you did it, that's all. What? The 3 girls exclaimed in unison. I really can't get married. The deaths of Colonel Mouse and others were discovered by the Navy after investigation and understanding. The Navy was shocked and contacted the governor of the East China Sea. After the governor heard it, he investigated and reported again, reporting layer by layer. After seeing the information, warring states held the phone bug and couldn't help frowning. Is this news confirmed? The governor of the East China Sea on the other side returned. The Black Cat pirates of the East China Sea were also discovered. According to the Navy who investigated there, Kia, the ship doctor of the White Feather Pirates, is very famous in Xiluop village, and the news is basically true. Okay, I get it. After hanging out the phone bug, Sengoku looked at Carp, who was eating senpai, and couldn't help but say, bastard, don't eat in my office. I bought that. Ha ha ha, Sengoku, you are too stingy. Carp laughed indifferently, filling his mouth with senpai. Warring States frowned slightly. Stop laughing, Monkey D. Luffy, what does it have to do with you? Of course it's my grandson. Carp smiled and felt something was wrong, and suddenly said in surprise, huh? How do you know? Investigate me secretly? Arsehole. I will endure. The Warring States took a deep breath and said, East China Sea Rob Village, the Straw Hat Pirates defeated the remnants of the Black Cat Pirates, and were killed by White Feather in seconds. The 2 led by Monkey D. Luffy were seriously injured and dying. The crew was robbed, and their whereabouts are currently unknown. Exclamation mark. Boom. A terrifying aura bloomed. The desks and chairs in the entire office were scattered, and the momentum continued to rise, and was directly held down by the Warring States. Calm me down. How can I calm down? That's my grandson. Garp was very angry. That bastard actually ran secretly to be a pirate. Moreover, just kneeling out of the sea. Warring States said calmly, there is no news of death in the data. It can only be said that your grandson can run very well, and I don't know where he went. However, if you have a way to contact him, it's best to persuade him to go back before he is offered reward. I don't like pirates. Luffy stinky boy, when I find him, I have to maim him. Garp's hair was smoking. Sengoku snorted. He didn't believe Garp was willing. Immediately, Baiayu's information was handed over. Is that him? White Feather. Chapter 11. Good boy. Seeing the black-haired, handsome and confident face in the photo, Garp raised his eyebrows slightly. He looks quite handsome. He's almost as good as when I was younger. Warring States wants to curse mother. Narcissism needs to have a limit. It's really an old man, around 18 years old. It is suspected that it is naturally a thunder fruit, a swordsman, and an overlord color shatters the ground. At least a high-level overlord color. Navigator Shinami, 18 years old, naturally belongs to Yunyan fruit, kills all members of the East China Sea evil dragon pirates. The ship Dr. Kia, 17 years old, is suspected of transferring the fruit and transferring the escaped dragon back to its original position. White Feather snatches Nami's sister as a crew member. Garp frowned more and more. This is still a rookie pirate group? These people, even in the first half of the Great Route, are qualified to dominate, and the natural system is not weak. Where did they get the resources to get 3 top devil fruits at once, or even more? 2 of them haven't performed before. Warring States said solemnly, especially Baiayu, who is at least a high-level overlord. When he goes out to sea, it is very likely that he will also be armed and seen, and there is a suspected thunder fruit, and the level of swordsman. This cannot be cultivated by people from the East China Sea. Why is it impossible? Look down on Donghai? Garp expressed his resentment. Phew, I'm not angry. Warring States took a deep breath again and said, the origin of Baiayu is a question mark. There is currently no information from a year ago. The origin is unknown, and his potential is too great to stay. As soon as he saw the information about the Overlord's color shattering the ground, the Warring States period wanted to send a general to kill him. 4 years ago, the red-haired Shanks became the 4 emperors, and in recent years, the title of the world's strongest overlord has come out. The Warring States period was very sensitive to overlord. High-level tyrants and top-level tyrants are 2 obvious differences. And the natural department. All 3 generals. I'll go to the East China Sea. Garp picked up his coat, stood up, and took all the senpai. Warring States shook his head and said, I advise you not to have too much hope. Their ship is floating in the sky, dragged by the clouds, and no one knows where it has gone. Then I'll take a leave of absence and go back to the East China Sea. Garp was still worried about Luffy. Rarely did not quarrel in the Warring States period, but asked, how much bounty do you think is appropriate for him? The more the better. It's better to just make it bigger. Garp clenched his nose and said, for someone with great potential like him, if there's less of it, he might cause trouble. If there's more of it, it's not a good thing for a newcomer to have a high bounty. You set him 5 billion, and I promise he will be hammered to death by Kaido within 10 days. Warring States could not help but nod. But 5 billion is an exaggeration. Many pirates are dissatisfied with the bounty and make trouble everywhere, and a high bounty can attract a lot of trouble to new pirates. Either go upstream or die on the road. And a pirate like Baiayu, who will become a serious problem no matter how you look at it, should pay more attention. Thought here. Warring States glanced sharply. Young red-haired, a young golden lion. If you are unlucky, you will hardly have a chance, boy. Some bounties and titles require strength to match, and now you are not qualified. Come on, issue reward. 2 days later, East China Sea restaurant Barati. When several newspapers and bounties were bought, the whole restaurant boiled over. Hey, is it true? It's crazy. Are they really from the East China Sea? So young, so scary. The whole restaurant was buzzing. It is really the content of the newspaper and the reward order. For Donghai, it is no different from the myth. And in the corner of the restaurant, Usopp shivered as he read the newspaper and the bounty, sinking into frightening memories. Zoro was stunned when he saw it. Luffy, who had just finished cleaning, asked curiously, huh? What's wrong with you? Is it my reward? Let me see. This guy. So familiar. 1, 10, 100. Wow, so many zeros. How many are there? I can't even count them. Luffy yelled. Sanji came over and said with a smoke ring, Luffy, from today onwards, don't make a fuss about letting me get on the boat. It's too noisy. No, I must get you on board. Luffy's voice was firm, and it was impossible for him to let the person he identified. Sanji resisted the urge to kick people. I mean, I'm on the boat. Please stop arguing. Ah. Great. Luffy showed his signature smile. Both the navigator and the boat were robbed by Baiayu, but the kind-hearted Mlee gave Luffy another small one. After all, they helped everyone drive away the remnants of the Black Cat. But there are no suitable navigators yet. They need to spend more days in the East China Sea, otherwise they won't be able to go too far. Came here 3 days ago. Because of the loss of a partner, Luffy desperately needed a new partner. After eating Sanji's meal, he stayed there from morning to night. Even if Sanji slept, been clamoring for him to get on the boat. Much fiercer than the original track. Before the Creek Pirates and Hawkeye came, Sanji couldn't take it anymore and was pulled onto the boat. Huh? This guy. Sanji glanced at Hukaba's reward order, and when he saw the number, the smoke fell from his mouth. Demon King. White Feather. 10 billion. Ah, It turned out to be 1 billion. It's really a lot. Luffy suddenly realized. Zoro said solemnly, he is Baiyu. Luffy looked puzzled. Who? Usopp said in a trembling voice. White feathers. He almost hacked your monsters to death in Shirabu village, and he also stole Nami and our ship. Maybe Nami and Kia let us go after begging for mercy, or they would have died early. Bang! Luffy smashed the table with one punch, and said angrily, it's him. Damn, I'm going to knock him up. Sanji, sloppy. Excuse me, is it too late to quit now? Chapter 12. Uck. The pirate group you choose, you have to walk the great route even on your knees. Sanji looked at the other bounty orders, and couldn't help but envy. The crew members are all beautiful women. What an enviable bastard. This. Hiss. After reading the newspaper, Sanji couldn't help but said, if you have any grudges, I advise you to give up. There is no hope and no need. Impossible. Ha, since such a powerful opponent is waiting for me, then I have to become stronger. Luffy and Zoro spoke at the same time. This made Sanji look at it with admiration. This green algae head is very brave, and he is really not afraid of death. At the same time, newspapers and bounties fall all over the world. The world is watching. New World, aboard the Moby Dick. When Marco lazily bought the newspaper and glanced lazily, his eyes widened. Dad, big news is coming. Yulalala, is Garp dead? Or is that old guy in Sengoku abolished? The white beard who was infused with fluid was still imposing, and ordinary people simply did not have the courage to stand in front of him. Oh? This bounty is very rare among newcomers. After looking at the bounty, Whitebeard looked at the newspaper again, and couldn't help but take a second glance. Yulalala, that old guy Shiki came out too? It's not like you at all. See the news of the Golden Lion. Whitebeard suddenly fell into memory. Marco and others read the newspaper carefully, and from time to time there are voices of disdain, shock, or anger. The future is the strongest in the world. Why is he? That's right, Dad is the strongest in the world. This guy is not worthy of him. Let's talk about it when he has the ability to come here. Maybe he will die in the East China Sea. Don't say anything else. The words "the strongest in the future world" in the newspaper deeply hurt the eyes of the crew of the Whitebeard pirates. It's taking away their pride. If Titch is still here, he will definitely cast aside these crew members secretly, a group of gnawing clansmen, vampires, trash. Ghost Island. While drinking, Kaido burst into tears. Baiyu, can he kill Lao Tzu? Answer me. Absolutely not. He doesn't deserve it. The iron-headed Jack shouted loudly and was angry. The Navy is getting more and more useless. How can a newcomer have a billion bounty? Am I Jack so clueless? Quinn didn't care. Jin, you bastard is getting more and more boring. Why did you call me here for such a trivial matter? Jin ignored Quinn, looked at Kaido and said, he is very important to us, and the Air Force needs him. Whether it is the air control of the Thunder Fruit, or the ability of the Yun Fruit to tug the boat and tow the island, it is very useful. Really? Then go get them back, and I will train them myself. Teacher Kai went online instantly. Boss Kaido, I'll go right now. Jack volunteered to turn around and run. Kaido and Quinn didn't care. Jin couldn't help but said in a deep voice, how do you catch it? Fly up to the sky to catch it? Jack paused. Brother Jin, I saw him being insulted and provoked directly. The newcomer can't stand this the most. Also know that mockery pulls hatred. The crowd was amazed. Teacher Kai directly made up his mind. Don't run around. You'll go to the Chambord Islands and wait for him. Yes, Boss Kaido. Cake Island. The aunt is having sex with someone at the moment, so she doesn't have time to read the newspaper. In broad daylight, really? Category: read the newspaper carefully. It seems that the Navy has already attached great importance to him. What he will face is not something that newcomers can bear. Let's talk about it when he can get into the new world. A snowy island somewhere. The red-haired pirates are having a lively banquet. When the newspapers came, the banquet became more lively. When the redhead saw it, he was equally excited. Wow, what an amazing newcomer. He is still from the East China Sea. Speaking of this, the redhead looked over the straw hat in his mind, and said with great anticipation, in the East China Sea, maybe Luffy's friend. Let's cheer for him. Beckman spit out a smoke ring and said suddenly, if it is an enemy, Luffy may not be able to get out of the East China Sea. The cheers just sounded. It came to an abrupt end. Everyone looked at each other. The redhead looked decadent. Beckman, don't say that. What should I do if something happened to Luffy? Beckman added, I believe in your vision. Luffy will definitely be able to walk in front of you as a strong man. Wow, cheers for Luffy. The redhead got excited again, much to Beckman's amusement. And the redhead really didn't worry about Luffy very much, because the redhead believes more in Roger, and more in Luffy's devil fruit. Nika fruit, Yudman's species. There is a will in the animal system, and it will choose the most suitable owner. The world government has been searching for 800 years, but it has been accidentally avoided by Nika fruit again and again. In the end it fell into Luffy's mouth. And the first rubber fruit capable person is the legendary warrior, who liberated the enslaved people and established a huge kingdom 800 years ago, and was respected by the world as Nika the sun god. Whether it's about things like Joey Boy or Nika, Roger has found the answer in love true. But Roger, it's too early. All the information gathered together to make a sentence. The next Nika fruit person is the hope of the world. The moment Luffy ate the Nika fruit, Red understood. Luffy, the one chosen by Nika. Luffy, who Roger is waiting for. Luffy, the one the world waits for. Luffy will be favored by everyone who knows the answer. Redhead for his broken arm. Really worked hard for 2 years to teach, and I don't know how many people are waiting for Luffy's growth. In this world, only Wang Luffy is the purest bloodline and the most correct inheritor of will. And the others? Totally inappropriate. Beiyu. Really? I'm starting to burn. Chapter 13. Over the East China Sea. Beiyu looked at the newspaper and the bounty, frowning more and more. Wow, the bounty is 1 billion. Sister Nami's bounty is 100 million, and I am 30 million. Why even me? Or 200 million? The three girls were very lively. Beiyu couldn't help but said, it's rare for a newcomer to have 100 million. Let alone 1 billion. This is a typical flattery. Even New Okigao has it. If you are really caught or killed, it will be a huge blow. The navy is tough enough. White Feather's bounty is enough. How can there be 1 billion just out of the sea? Nuoki's high bounty is even more ridiculous. An ordinary girl, directly offering a reward of 200 million! This is to bring New Okigao to death, and it is also to drag their pirate group into the maelstrom. Wise General Waring states, you are mentally retarded. Seeing the information in the newspaper, Beiyu was very angry. The strongest rookie ever? The future is the strongest in the world. If you become a CP, you will become the strongest shield, and if you become a pirate, you will become the pirate king? If Roger is the pirate king who conquered the Great Root, then Beiyu will be the devil who brings darkness to the world. Demon King White Feather is sinful. Demon King White Feather. The legend begins. Above, Beiyu looks pretty good, although he is very hateful, but he blows it well, and Beiyu likes it. But, White Feather. Golden Lion Disciple. Golden Lion, Kyuuhai is all garbage that my disciples solved at will. Golden Lion, White Feather will surpass Roger. Golden Lion, Kaido is not worthy of Beiyu's shoes. Golden Lion, Charlotte deserves to be compared with my disciple? Golden Lion, Whitebeard kneels down to welcome my disciple? Above, newspaper probably means, Beiyu, good guy. Really nice guy. Does the Golden Lion know? Beiyu was specially arranged to be a disciple of the Golden Lion by the Warring States period, not to mention, but also used the tone of the Golden Lion to draw a wave of world-class hatred for Beiyu. Directly make enemies all over the world. If Beiyu and Auntie can't find the Golden Lion, they have to kill Beiyu. There is definitely a popular jumping foot in the Shikibukai. It's so annoying. If nothing else, if the Golden Lion sees it, it might kill him. Just look at Beiyu's condition. Beiyu, is Golden Lion really your teacher? Nami looked over with blinking eyes. Oya was also a little confused. Big brother Beiyu, doesn't he have no relatives? Never seen it. White Feather directly denied. Speaking of which, you shouldn't even know who the Golden Lion is, right? Beiyu doubted this. A legend from decades ago. How could the three women have the heart to care about these things? Do not know. The three women shook their heads in unison. Don't ask if you don't know, it's boring. Beiyu didn't explain anything. The Golden Lion is already in the past tense. However, his ability is good. White Feather expressed his desire. That's a real random flight plus air control map cannon, and it's so cool to overlook the world. Sincerely, White Feather felt that Shiki's ability was playing badly. It is said that the Zenzen fruit can destroy the world, but in Beiyu's view, the fluttering fruit is more destructive. Except for life, it can control everything in the world that can be touched, such as islands, white clouds, and the sea. Was restrained by the storm. Touch the air controls, isn't that a storm? Free to split the island, free to fly. Undersea vortex, broken ship on the spot. Space meteorite, Megatron world. Analu flew to the moon to play, and fluttering fruit can fly into space to touch the boulder control, and the meteorite group destroys everything. Kyo asked curiously, Brother Beiyu, why did you suddenly decide to come to the Goya Kingdom again? Because I think it's still necessary to delay another 2 days before grabbing another person. I thought about giving up and taking Makino, but Beiyu found out. No matter who the child is in Makino's arms, at least Luffy was a big girl when he went to sea. The robbing system doesn't rob people when they see them, so what am I doing? Thinking of this, Beiyu accelerated Shimayun with all his strength, and took the usual 7-day voyage to the sky above Goa Kingdom in 2 days. Seeing this, Nami curled her lips. Who is it that you want to grab? Let you speed up your sailing so hard. I just don't want to waste time. Beiyu said casually, we will have a lot of crew in the future. It's not enough for Nuoki to be taller than a cook, so add another. Nami questioned her soul. After the crew. All women? The main ships are all women, and the affiliated pirates work for us. White Feather's goal is very clear. You can't just rely on sisters to rule the world. The main ship keeps her sisters, and the Tuelmen can drive new ships as captains. Green hair, headscarf. When the three of them were talking, Nuo Kigao also looked down at the windmill village. Ah, I saw it. Is that the one? White Feather is also looking. A woman with short dark green hair, wearing a headscarf, and wearing a simple dress, was very gentle and cheerful, saying hello to the people around her and walking like a little sun. The smile warms the heart. At this time, Nami was suddenly a little excited. What is it? Is there anything I need to pay attention to? Beiyu was surprised. Why was she suddenly excited? Until Kia murmured, she is full of tenderness and reminds me of my mother. White Feather was stunned. The three daughters are all orphans. Then it should be stolen. I'll return soon. White Feather teleported down directly below. Greeting the villagers, Makino was already looking forward to a simple and beautiful day today. She still had a newspaper and reward in her hand, and murmured, it's about the same age as Luffy, and I don't know how he is. So Makino was whispering. Suddenly it felt dark, and when she looked up, she saw that there was a familiar man covering the sun and looking down at her. You. It's you? When Makino saw it clearly, he glanced at the newspaper and was shocked. The strongest pirate in the East China Sea, who said that Windmill Village is not afraid of pirates. Even when the redheads first arrived, everyone was worried for a long time. If you are familiar with it, you will not be afraid. But the other pirates, who knows what temperament? The surrounding villagers have widened their eyes in horror. That young man. Hey, the East China Sea offers $1 billion reward. Quick, informed the village chief. Chapter 14. A billion pirates. Even if the red-haired group was not so tall at the time, who wouldn't be afraid of ordinary people? Seeing this, Beiyu waved his hand enthusiastically. Hello, I will take Makino and become the cook, and I will take good care of her. Don't resist. Do you have anything to clean up? Beiyu ignored the glares from the villagers and looked at the sluggish Makino. Can you hear me? Huh? Sorry. Makino apologized subconsciously, and then her gentle big eyes dimmed a bit. I have nothing to do. Take me away. Really kind. Beiyu understood what Makino meant. Sacrifice yourself, leave Windmill Village as soon as possible, and don't hurt the innocent. You can come back anytime anyway. Beiyu stepped forward and hugged Makino before disappearing. The village chief who ran from a distance jumped in anger. Too arrogant. Don't you know where this is? Give me the phone bug and let Carp catch him. Island Cloud Boat. With a blink of an eye, when Makino saw his surroundings again, he met three pairs of beautiful big eyes. Sister, introduce yourself, name, age, hobbies, and tell me your dreams. Kia's sweet and gentle mouth opened. Nokugao and Nami also looked at Makino expectantly. Is this the pirate group? Makino felt that this place was very different and ignored Beiyu for a while. Looking at the three pretty little girls, Makino smiled softly. Hello, I'm Makino. 29 years old this year. I like to make wine. I hope everyone can be happy. Wow, what a gentle big sister. The three Nami girls also ignored Shirou and started chatting enthusiastically around Makino. Beiyu, forget it. Let's set sail. Brush, teleport beyond the range. Beiyu took the island cloud and the boat, teleported directly, and returned to the space above the Kokoyaksi village, which was the closest to the space coordinates left by Rotown. Hey, are you back again? Noticing the hometown below, Nami was pleasantly surprised. Beiyu, stop for a moment. I'll take Sister Makino around, and I'll be back soon. The four daughters flew away in the island cloud. Beiyu couldn't help shaking his head, grasping the knife and feeling the power of potential. After an hour, Nami said goodbye to the villagers and returned with the three Makino girls. Finished? Beiyu opened his eyes and looked at Makino with a cold face. You should have learned a lot in this hour, and you should know how to choose. I'll join you. After all, Makino had seen a lot of big people, so she didn't panic, and her voice was still so gentle. Knowing from Nami and the others that Hakuba could instantly return to the place she had been, she had no choice. Beiyu can cross the space to the Windmill Village at any time, and she also left a space imprint on her body, and when she ran to the new world, she could be caught back in an instant. Wise choice. Seeing this, Beiyu's indifferent face suddenly turned into a little sun, and said with a smile, then we will be family in the future. Don't be afraid, I will be very good to my family. Makino smiled softly. She didn't know what to say. She always felt that this pirate was weird. Nami curled her lips. Indifference threatens to laugh again. It's a routine. Big brother Beiyu said that time is power. This is the fastest way. Kia assisted Beiyu. Noki was speechless. Beiyu didn't threaten her, just hit PP directly. It seems faster? Do you have anything to clean up? I can take you back to Windmill Village right now, and report safety by the way. Beiyu suggested softly. Makino showed an embarrassed but polite smile. You decide. Not yet familiar with Beiyu's true temperament, Makino couldn't say no, and only hoped that Windmill Village would be safe. I'll return soon. Holding Makino, White Feather took her to the Windmill Village by jumping into space. At this time, the village chief was still swearing. Suddenly seeing the two of them appearing again, they rushed over with a cane. Damn pirates, return Makino. Makino waved his hand immediately. Grandpa village chief, Captain Beiyu and I have known each other for a long time. I was joking before, and I decided to go to sea with him. "Ah? Is that so?" The village chief was stunned, and the villagers behind also looked at each other in dismay. Beiyu is speechless. "Did you believe Makino's white lie?" "Young man, Makino is very kind. Don't teach her badly, but take good care of her, you know." After communicating with Makino and confirming that everything was fine, the village head shook his head. "The child grows up and always yearns for the outside world. I'll leave it to you. I'm going to call Carp to explain, or you're screwed." Beiyu. A simple windmill village. There are too many guys who have turned the world upside down. After Makino was ready, she returned to the ship with her red eyes. "Time will tell." Beiyu didn't talk to Makino much, and asked Nami to take the boat to fly, and went straight back to the room. System, lottery draw. Ding. It was detected that Makino was grabbed to become a crew member, subordinate, and the lottery in the world is starting. Ding. Congratulations on winning the item. Dog charm. Beiyu's eyes brightened. The dog spell of the 12 spells. The character has exploded. The top fetish. Ding. Trigger the optimization mechanism. Whether to optimize. Optimization. Ding. Optimization is complete. Dog spell. The power of the spell is optimized to the power of immortality. Immortality. This moment, Beiyu felt that his heart was beating rapidly. His talent was immortal. Click on information. Immortal 1. Youth is eternal. Life is eternal. Immortal 2. Immune to any deadly attack. Trigger the undead body. Immortal 3. The talent is immortal and cannot be used by others. It seems to be no different from the dog spell. It's just that the dog spell can be snatched away, but the innate ability can't be snatched away. Maybe it's better and stronger than the dog spell. It's optimized after all. Kings from afar. I want to kill you, but you can't kill me. Chapter 15. Immortal. That doesn't mean you won't get hurt. The immortality of the dog talisman is very simple. For example, Uncle Long was unscathed by a shot of dragon flames, but the Holy Master was injured when he was shot. Because Uncle Long suffered a fatal injury, triggering the body of immortality. And the Holy Master, the blood is too thick to be considered fatal, and it can only be restored with a horse spell. Fatal wounds only work immunity or immediate recovery once the attack is fatal. Except for the rules and even the causal ability beyond the dog spell, there is no lethal attack that can directly kill White Feather. Injury has healing fruits. Fatal immunity plus injury recovery. When the two are combined, no matter who the top powerhouses appear at the moment, Beiyu dares to go directly to them. I didn't expect the happiness of immortality to come so quickly. Beiyu calmed down and said, "It's a pity that I can't use it for Kia and the others." Then, in the future, we need to think more about how to make the girls live forever. Happy together is true happiness. 2 days later. Seabury restaurant. On the cloud boat on the island above, Kia was curious. "Brother Beiyu, you stopped here for a long time. What are you waiting for?" "I'm about to go to the Great Route, and I'm waiting for an opponent to verify myself." Beiyu was eager to fight at the moment, and then looked at Nami. "By the way, take Nokigao and Makino down. Go to the chef there to ask for some recipes, and learn some crafts by the way." "Am I going down too?" Nami hesitated. She saw that Luffy was still in the restaurant. Although there is no bond, but they are friends, but they must be very hostile to Beiyu. And Makino also looked down at Luffy in surprise. The child was the two. Beiyu raised his eyebrows. "What? They dare to snatch you? Then just throw it into the sea." "I see, just a little bit." Nami made a playful face, and flew down with the two girls. Beiyu stroked Kia's hair and said, "How strong do you think the world's #1 swordsman is?" "Well, it should be able to split our ship, right?" Kia thought for a while and gave an uncertain answer. After all, in Kia's heart, Beiyu is the strongest. Ha. Almost. Beiyu couldn't help laughing at this answer. Why is the world's largest swordsman if not strong enough? That only proves that Zora's dream is a joke. There are always people who think that Eagle Eye is not as good as the General Emperor, but in fact, there are countless swordsmen in the world, and they can convince everyone to stand at the top, which is the top of the world itself. If not in the top row, then all swordsmen will be eliminated. If the world's largest swordsman is not the world's top powerhouse, then what's the use of me practicing swords? All the strongest swordsmen in the world are only second-rate powerhouses. Then all swordsmen should kill themselves. Such a simple truth is still debated. No doubt, Sauron's goal is to be the highest point in the world, because domineering is also a compulsory course for swordsmen, and Hawkeye itself is one of the world's top powerhouses that can rival the Redhead. After all, if the strongest swordsmanship is second-rate, it is not worthy to make Whitebeard marvel at the battle between the two. Besides, the four emperors. It's getting harder and harder to look directly at me. This is White Feather's inner words. He used to often see someone say that a four emperor killed 3 generals, and then leveled the emperor, and the emperor was a lot stronger. The 4 sovereigns are so powerful, and they are even more arrogant. Available as Big Mom and Kaido, anyone can come up and kick with both feet, and no one will be killed, so I can't bear to look directly. 4 emperors. Bucky, are you afraid? If Auntie and Kaido can kill anyone in the protagonist group, and then Luffy explodes again, then the 4 emperors may stabilize the force. Just a pity. The big move is scraping. Free teaching throughout. The dignified 2-4 emperors were beaten by a few newcomers who had been at sea for less than 3 years, for no reason. No matter how strong Kaido's performance is, he still loses. Mr. K, it's hard to understand. Coming. Beiyu, who was criticizing the 4 emperors for his inability in his heart, suddenly looked down. That man, here we come. And below, sea restaurants are also lively. Luffy was surprised by Nami's sudden appearance. Ah, Makino. But after seeing Makino, Luffy showed a dull expression for the first time. How could that gentle big sister be here? Hallucination. Makino smiled softly. It's good to see that you're all right. I'm going to see too, with Nami. 1. Together, Luffy's head couldn't understand. But before Luffy could continue to speak, Nami shot directly. Cloud lock. Dozens of cloud locks directly locked the bewildered Luffy, and before he could react, Nami threw him out with force. Whoosh! Luffy flew straight out and crashed into the sea. Nami, Usopp was stunned. Sanji, who was excited to see the beauty, also stopped abruptly. This woman is not easy to mess with. It's really troublesome. Zoro is a real man, throwing down his knife and jumping into the sea to save people. Don't panic everyone. Nami looked at everyone, smiled and said, my brother is a big pirate with a reward of 1 billion. My 2 sisters want to learn some cooking skills from the chef, and ask for some good recipes. May I ask you convenient? Yes, my brother is watching from the sky. Zap. Sanji. Is this a threat? This must be a threat. Such a cute little devil. Of course, Zep agreed, and he would never hide it, and it would be quick. At the same time, the Creek pirates, a group of defeated dogs fled in panic. A huge slash directly split the pirate ship. The whole place was silent. It's him. Zoro, who had just emerged from the sea with Luffy in his arms, trembled throughout his entire body, which was an expression of excitement. In front of the sea is a small boat like a coffin board, with candles lit on the boat, and in the middle sits a very cold man with eagle eyes. Jolakul Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman. One of the top men in the world. Hawkeye ignored the crowd. In the perception of seeing and hearing, there was a will to overturn the world brewing in the sky, as if telling him, I'm here. I didn't expect it, and there are surprises. Hawkeye opened his mouth coldly, and looked up slightly at the sky. I feel it. Your uncontrollable fighting intent is boiling. Are you waiting for me? The Demon King who shocked the world. Chapter 16. Not in vain. Feeling Beiayu's fighting intent, Hawkeye's cold eyes suddenly brightened. In the newspaper, forget it. The handwriting of the Warring States period blew the white feathers into the sky and the ground, and drew a wave of world-class hatred, making it difficult for people to forget. Hawkeye is naturally interested, because Beiayu on the reward order has a knife around his waist. This is enough. If you have the guts, come with me. Let me witness the power of the world's greatest swordsman. Beiayu's unbelievable voice fell from the sky, causing an uproar. The island cloud in the air quickly drifted into the distance. Hawkeye whispered 2 words, interesting. The next moment, Beiayu's voice floated again. Need help? My family Kia is very curious about how you sailed the boat. Did you use your black knife to paddle at night? Hawkeye. Has it been found again? The Creek pirates were destroyed for this reason, and no one can see that my eagle eye is out of line. Damn. I have cut this Demon King. Hawkeye looked around coldly for a week. No one dared to look at the sea restaurant, and Nami lowered her head subconsciously. Yes, it is now. Paddle so fast that no one can see. Hawkeye quickly pulled out the black knife, inserted it into the sea, exhausted his strength, and was about to paddle. Zoro's excited voice sounded. The world's greatest swordsman, I finally met you. Come on, let my name be heard in heaven. Luffy, Sauron, you put me up first. I'm so weak in the sea, and I'll take care of the guy who rowed the boat with a knife later. Hawkeye. Ha, there are 2 others who are not afraid of death! Exclamation mark. Hawkeye glanced at it. This is the straw hat that the redhead brags about every day? Zoro quickly threw Luffy into the restaurant, then jumped onto the wreck of the Creek pirates' ship, drew his knife and looked at Hawkeye. Drawn knife. Hawkeye was instantly incomparably cold. You sad weakling. If you are really a first-class swordsman, you will understand how far apart you are from me if you haven't fought against me. Dare to face me with a knife, should you say you have courage or ignorance? Zoro grinned. It's my ambition, and an agreement with my friends. Glancing at Shimayun, who was flying farther and farther, thinking of Beiayu, who was designated as the Demon King, Hawkeye lost his patience for idle play, and Hideo was in hand. Frog at the bottom of the well. See how big the world is. Feel free to level a. Scoff. The atmosphere was torn apart. A terrifying flying slash that was incomparably flaming and tens of meters long, came in a surprise attack by Sauron. Hide. Can't escape. Is this the #1 power in the world? Never thought that the gap is so big. Faced with this kind of slash, Zoro was horrified to find that his body could hardly move. Crash. In the end, Sauron almost avoided the slash by relying on his beast-like intuition and fighting consciousness. However, the slashing slashes brushed the sharp air waves it carried, and it still wounded Sauron. and the airwaves flew into the sea. Sauron, Luffy and the others are concerned about Zoro, while others looked away under the direct gaze of Hawkeye. It's now. The rowing begins. With a swish, Hawkeye disappeared. This made Nami sigh with emotion, as expected of the world's greatest swordsman. He can row the boat so fast with a knife. If only he were a helmsman, he would definitely save trouble. Everyone was speechless. If Hawkeye hears it, don't cut it. 2 hours later. A deserted island coast. The island cloud fell on the sea, and the ship fell too. Standing on the bow of the boat, Beiyu calmly looked at the eagle eyes coming from the boat, and said with a light smile, "You are really interesting. How many opponents can you run into by rowing like you? Why don't you get on my boat? I'll take you to fly." Hawkeye stood up on the coffin board and said coldly, "You are not the first person to invite me on board, but you are the weakest one based on breath alone. You're weak. Be careful if you cry." Miss Kia couldn't help but stare at her, trying her best to maintain Beiyu's majesty. Beiyu grabbed Kia and chuckled noncommittally, "Can you tell me what kind of person can let you on board?" Hawkeye didn't answer directly. Jumped out of a boat and landed on a desert island. The voice followed. "Like when I first went to sea, I was crushed by the world's top swordsman at will. Or, let me see the road ahead of Kendo. In order to become stronger, even if I kneel down and beg, I will still do it." Very round. Beiyu understood. Simply put, using pure swordsmanship to crush Hawkeye, beyond his cognition or several levels. Then, in order to go further in the Kendo, even if you kneel, Hawkeye will still follow. Zoro, willing to kneel for Luffy. Hawkeye, only willing to kneel for Kendo. He is the purest swordsman. Purer than all. In my heart, apart from Kendo, I have nothing to ask for, and I have nothing to worry about. It is a pity that such a person was born in the world of pirates. I'm sorry, but my swordsmanship is very average now, and I'm not a pure swordsman, and I don't want to be a pure swordsman. Beiyu clearly saw the disappointment in Hawkeye's eyes, but Beiyu's voice changed. "But, I can make you stronger. Maybe one day, I will suddenly beat you with swordsmanship, and use swordsmanship to crush you unreasonably. So, do you believe it? Make me stronger." "One day swordsmanship crushed me?" Hawkeye's eyes sharpened. He looked at Beiyu seriously, looked directly into Beiyu's eyes, and suddenly smiled. "Young man, I hope that day will come as soon as possible. However, I hate lies the most. Come on, beat me. The apex position is so boring. I can't wait to see someone actually take my place." Having said this, Hawkeye sighed inwardly and became more serious. "If you use your strength to prove you, maybe I will think about it and witness your growth with my own eyes. Otherwise, die." Beiyu, hello, are you serious? Beiyu has some doubts. Is it that his mouth has been full level, and the system does not show it? Mouth escape level 999? This is Hawkeye. How can I get on board with a few words? Host, White Feather. Physical fitness, 3.5 stars. Spirit, 4 stars. Swordsmanship, 3.5 stars. Armed color, elementary. Seeing and hearing color, intermediate. Overlord color, advanced. Overlord. Innate ability, teleportation, immortality. Special abilities, Union Fruit, Restoration Fruit. Basic combat power, 4-star/headquarters elite lieutenant general. Additional abilities, 5-star/general level. Chapter 17. Good. Glancing at his personal information, Beiyu instantly regained his spirits, and Beiyu's basic strength did not improve much. In the domineering real solution, learn the entanglement of the Overlord, and at least the advanced Overlord is qualified to learn the skills. However, in the development of the Restoration Fruit, the comprehensive combat power of White Feather has been greatly improved. Restoration Fruit. Forever Drop God. Combat power does not equal destructive power. Beiyu's destructive power is not enough, but it is enough to kill 90% of the top powerhouses. The enemy's state is restored. Coupled with the dog spell, let's fight. Okay, as you wish. Beiyu came to the deserted island in an instant, tens of meters away from Hawkeye. Space capability. Hawkeye quickly analyzed Beiyu's unreasonable movement speed, and then said coldly, "If this is your reliance, then I will tell you clearly, your path." "That's it, is it?" Beiyu slowly drew his sword and said seriously, "I also tell you very clearly that you will witness defeat today. Betting, block each other's future. A good future for each other." Hawkeye was silent for a moment, then slowly stood with the sword. "Young man, come on, your confidence is worthy of my use of this sword." Jollicle Mihawk, the world's strongest black knife knight. White Feather also stood horizontally. White Feather, 21 jobs with big sharp knives, and 1 word with Dao. Scoff. Hawkeye took the lead, and Beiyu took a beat. In the same way, Kia looked a little frightened and worried from a distance. It really looks like a huge difference. As soon as the eagle eye shot, the flaming crescent slash was like a crescent moon, and the mighty power of more than 100 meters was shocking. And Beiyu, the slash that was just over a dozen meters in size, looked so pitiful and fragile. Boom. Hawkeye's slash strongly shattered Beiyu's slash, and charged towards Beiyu with unabated power. Rush. The next moment, just saw Beiyu disappear in place, and even before he could catch Beiyu, Hawkeye's fighting consciousness took the lead in capturing the crisis behind him. Armed possession. Clang. At the moment when the weapon was possessed, Baiu's knife slashed on Hawkeye's back, and the sound of steel intertwined sounded, causing a spark. Baiu was embarrassed for a moment. With a full blow, even Hawkeye's armed collar didn't break, so Kaido's is so strong. Rush. After Hawkeye turned around, White Feather disappeared again. Clang clang. The friction between the blade and the armed collar, but in one breath, Baiu has already slashed Eagle Eye more than a dozen times. Ridiculous slash. Hawkeye was a little annoyed and even aggrieved. What's more, it's even more embarrassing than hitting the yellow ape, not to mention cutting the White Feather. It's hard to even catch the sight. The movements of the yellow monkey are all linear, and Baiu, teleporting at will, without any trajectory. Commonly known as, I see it, but my body can't keep up. And White Feather? Dozens of teleports in one breath. Boom. The swordsmanship and the armed color were released, and the White Feathers were strongly shocked, and the Eagle Eye coldly shouted, "Young man, I have to admit, even if the knowledge and color can predict the future, it is difficult to hit you. After all, the physical reaction can't keep up. But this is your tactic? How long can you last this foul teleportation?" Hawkeye believes that the physical strength consumed is unimaginable. Baiu couldn't help shrugging. To tell the truth, I still have a lot of abilities, one of which is a bit special. That is the power from outside the world, so it's okay to play for a few months. Hawkeye, what are you kidding? Do you want to kill my Eagle Eye outside the legendary world? That's why you have the confidence to invite me on board? Hawkeye's eyes brightened a little, and he even expected that this world was too boring. Huh? So interested? Jiankai is really good to fool. Baiu coughed lightly. Yes, follow me and let you see the scenery of different worlds. After I beat you. No words are more powerful than actions. Well, it's time to open up. Infinite instant slash. When the body teleports with the heart, it cooperates with the recovery fruits to restore physical strength, fatigue, hunger, injuries, etc. When the two are combined, the ultimate power is displayed. That is, infinite instant slash. The enemy is undefeated and will never stop. Clang clang clang. The continuous sound of instant slashing sounded. When Hawkeye reacted, Baiu's attack had already changed positions, and many of his attacks were slashing towards his hands. Almost instantly, Hawkeye suffered an all-round slash that was more violent and denser than the storm. There is no stagnation whatsoever. When Hawkeye burst out with sword stance and armed color, trying to shake Baiu away, in the next instant, Baiu struck again. Hawkeye fell into a world where there were only slashes, and the endless slashes were numerous and dense, with no end in sight. Extremely just cut. After a few more breaths, Hawkeye, who had been slashed hundreds of times, exploded with all his strength and once again blasted away the White Feather that appeared out of nowhere. Violent slash. The circular slash unfolded with Hawkeye at the center, cutting everything in smooth halves wherever it passed. PFFT. A broken leg fell from the air. White Feather with a broken leg also fell to the ground. An injury is a serious injury. Let's prove you. Seeing this scene, Hawkeye's movements did not stop at all. If Baiu died, it would only mean that the other party was nothing more than that. Everything is empty talk. Bowl Storm. At the beginning of returning the salute, Hawkeye also launched a storm-like slash at Baiu, who had broken his leg. The power is far stronger than Baiu's slash, and the terrifying storm is completely formed by the slash, and before it hits, Baiu feels a sting all over his body. The slash came like a tsunami. Boom. The slashing storm drowned White Feather, and completely included the deserted island in the rear, and the whole island was shaking. The huge roar resounded more than 100 miles in a radius. Then, what is that? A warship happened to pass by and glanced at the deserted island from a distance, and the Navy couldn't help but be amazed. Great swordsman. A cute girl wearing glasses was very excited. That kind of attack can't go wrong. It's definitely the world's top swordsman. Right. Smoking man. Can you omit the bar? In the end is not R. Chapter 18. Colonel Smog found an unknown pirate group, 12 nautical miles ahead. Unfamiliar pirate flag. Observe the soldiers and report immediately. Then grab it and go to the deserted island to see it. Smog frowned slightly. The recent East China Sea is really not peaceful. Big pirates come out one by one. But Dusky looked at the soldiers and hesitated. The kind of attack on the island is not suitable for bringing troops there, and it is likely to cause unprovoked casualties. Then I'll go alone, you stay. Smog's lower body became elemental and flew towards the ship where Kia was. Colonel, Dusky shouted, a little helpless. She is cute. Smog is simply going his own way, the mad dog of the new generation of the Navy. The previous generation was carp, and on a desert island. Hawkeye's movements stagnated, and for the first time there was a huge wave in his voice. Is this the so-called power outside the world? Yeah, very powerful. The intact White Feather appeared in front of Hawkeye. The broken leg seemed like it had never been cut off, if that wasn't a big deal. So, Hawkeye's slash disappeared immediately, making Hawkeye's heart agitated. It's not just a simple erasure, it's astonishing that it is presented in a way that looks back in time. Even his own domineering has returned to before it was displayed. making it difficult for Hawkeye to understand. Injury recovery. Move back. Domineering recovery. Status restored. After the broken leg, Beiyu was in a trance for a moment because of the pain, and then ushered in the storm-like attack of Eagle Eye. Unfortunately, it's too far away. It also takes a while to slash and fly, which gives Beiyu the opportunity to display his abilities. It seems that my combination skills still have shortcomings, and the resistance to pain is also very weak. The biggest disadvantage. I'm still not strong enough. Beiyu quickly adjusted his state and said again, "Don't think about it. My ability cannot be explained by the degree of time restoration and space restoration. It is a complete violation of the ability of the realm of God." Continue. I see. Rule class capability. Hawkeye was silent for a moment, and frowned slightly. Since you can take back my armament and moves, that means you can cut my body directly, right? The hundreds of slashes just now, even if they are weak, are enough for you to slash me dozens of times. Correct. Hawkeye is not Big Mom and Kaido. Although the physique is strong, if there is no arm defense, it is really not enough for Beiyu to cut. This is what Beiyu was most amazed at the restoration fruit. He originally thought that this restoration would have no effect on Hawkeye, but actually, the effect is very good. It seems that there is no power that can stop Beiyu's recovery. He can easily make Hawkeye stand still on the ground and let Beiyu cut. The moves and domineering are all restored and withdrawn. Hawkeye is a living target, and his body is like scrap iron. It just so happens that White Feather can cut iron. That Eagle Eye is a piece of scrap iron that can't move. Beiyu was inexplicably honest. I just discovered it too. I thought it would only be effective for the weak, but I didn't expect. After all, it's the first time to fight a top-level powerhouse like you. I didn't expect the effect to be so good. Hawkeye's eyelids twitched wildly. Should he be proud? He has become an experiment. The experience of fighting with Beiyu is really bad, but it feels a little powerless. The ability to rule. For the time being, Hawkeye couldn't find a way to fight. Do you want to give up? Then you should admit defeat. Beiyu teleported into the air and stepped on the white cloud. Actually, even if I don't let you experience a higher level of swordsmanship, as long as you follow me, you can also quickly become stronger. Up to 2 years, it will make you 20% stronger than you are now. This is nature. Yunyan fruit! Exclamation mark. Looking at the white clouds that Beiyu stepped on, Hawkeye suddenly couldn't understand Beiyu. The thunder fruit advertised in the newspapers was useless, but instead, the ability of the crew member Nami was used. There are so many teleportation, recovery and so on. Is this something one can have? Do you know what you're talking about? Hawkeye said seriously. Increase your strength by 20% in 2 years. It seems that your teacher Jinshishi didn't tell you that there is a limit to the strength of human beings. Especially after reaching the peak, it may take half your life to increase by 10%. No one can get stronger all the time. Fruit, wake up. Swordsmanship, the pinnacle of great swordsman. Domineering, 3-color top. Physique, Kaido and other levels. Physical skills, Carp and other levels. At most, add some special abilities. When any of these items reaches the peak, ordinary people have little possibility of progress, and at most they will hone their skills and combat experience. The rest is left to time to sharpen. But because of injuries and age, it's good not to go backwards, and Whitebeard is an obvious example. If someone in this era can go far beyond the peak in all aspects, then all the powerhouses in the sea are as ridiculous as playing a family. At least, Hawkeye has never seen it, nor has he heard of the powerhouses who break through these restrictions, fight for more than a few days, just because everyone is the same. If the difference is too much, there will be no fights for days and nights. Really? Beiyu said noncommittally. First of all, I have never seen a golden lion. Secondly, your 3-color domineering has reached its peak. Your physique is already the same as Kaido. Then have you heard of the road after the 3-color domineering reaches its peak? Chop the wood, chop the iron, chop the sky. Can you smash the red earth continent with one knife? Since not, then continue to practice. It is very difficult to cultivate at your stage. Then I will teach you. I have an easier way to become stronger. Are you the devil? Hawkeye had never seen a weakling like Beiyu who questioned him so calmly. Yes, Hawkeye admits that Beiyu's ability is very powerful, but he is not strong. Oh, by the way, I haven't beat you yet, so you don't believe it. That's what it should be. Beiyu teleported again, and the voice fell on the spot. Don't worry, I won't restore your domineering arrogance and moves to make you a target. Let's fight for a long time. I still need combat experience. Such a concession, it's a shame. Beiyu's actions were like letting him do it with one hand and one foot. Hawkeye was angry, and his ability was amazing. Frog at the bottom of the well. Let you see how big the top world is. Boom. Chapter 19. Boom. Hawkeye's strong counterattack made it difficult for Beiyu, who was capable of self-binding, to approach, and the terrifying sword stance would tear his armament color even if he approached. The body is even more unbearable. PFFT. As soon as he approached, Beiyu turned into a blood man, and waves of pain swept through his body. Cut. The strongest moves tend to use the simplest names. Hawkeye's blow made Baiayu's consciousness stagnate for an instant. That is a different kind of overlord color, another kind of spiritual shock. Boom. The extremely dazzling slash disappeared in a flash, and in an instant, it crossed most of the deserted island. With a huge roar, most of the deserted island was then cut open, and the remaining power was undiminished, and the slash split the sea for dozens of miles. The flying Smog didn't have time to see Kia, but was shocked by the scene in front of him. It turned out to be him, and Demon King Baiayu. Smog's face became heavy, and he never thought that the newcomer who had just been promoted to the big pirate would dare to fight Hawkeye on the desert island. But seeing the other half of the deserted island, it seems that they have been fighting for a long time. Is this still a newcomer? Not dead? Smog looked into the distance from afar, and vaguely saw a half-crippled figure jump out of the sea, disappeared instantly, then appeared directly above Hawkeye, and then, tangling middle. Instant slash, Baiayu disappeared out of thin air, passing Hawkeye in an instant. This speed, Smog was startled. His eyes couldn't keep up at all, not to mention his insensitive eyesight. Obviously, he will be killed in seconds. Damn, what have I been doing all these years? Thinking that he would be killed by a rookie pirate, Smoker put on a mask of pain on his face. If he was in the new world, he would at least be a lot stronger than he is now, so he wouldn't be so arrogant that the two-color domineering was always on and off. PFFT. Hawkeye, who was wielding a knife, had a ferocious knife wound on his body. Baiayu's tyrannical entanglement broke through Hawkeye's armed defense. Your knife is very good. Hawkeye felt very happy in his heart, and he hadn't been hurt for a long time. It's really powerful. Glancing at Smoker in the distance, Baiayu said seriously, even if you try to avoid it, you still get cut by you. Unfortunately, it is a fatal injury. Hawkeye said he didn't want to speak. That is the process, not the result. The result is that you have nothing to do with me, and you are still arguing with me here. However, since it is a fatal injury, why is Baiayu still okay? Come on, go on. Baiayu didn't talk nonsense anymore, just dashed forward without some bugs. He can't die anyway. It's very exciting. I can't even defeat a weakling with special abilities, so how can I be the strongest swordsman? Hawkeye adjusted his mentality more quickly, made big moves, and attacked Baiayu, the tyrant, with the strongest stance. Boom, boom. White feathers infinite instant slash and Hawkeye's terrifying slash continued to unfold on this small desert island. With immortality and recovery, Baiayu experienced the joy of fighting, and had a great time fighting with Hawkeye, who became more and more aggrieved. Impossible. What is his ability? Smog became more and more frightened, and even flew further away, took out the phone bug and called the headquarters. Kia frowned slightly when she saw this scene, but she had no good way to stop it. You hit me too. Kia also called the phone bug. Sister Nami, come back along the island cloud mark left by Big Brother Baiayu. There are a lot of navies here. Well, I'll be right back. Nami hung up the phone bug and waved her fist at Usopp. When Zoro pulls Luffy out of the sea again, tell him that I have joined the White Feather Pirates. Don't come to me again. It will kill people. I see. Usopp wiped his sweat and nodded. This woman is even more terrifying after gaining power. Luffy, you can have some snacks. Such a woman. Our boat can't handle it. Boom boom boom. Hawkeye and White Feather's battle continues. Baiayu tried to recover more abilities and even reduce the number of teleportation, but he was obviously very weak. But it's all growth. What are you talking about? Space teleportation faster than a kiwi, recovery faster than a phoenix, and the Union fruit that has been used a few times occasionally can erase Hawkeye's attack. There are still some incomprehensible abilities. Hawkeye is also injured. Sengoku's astonishment came from the phone bug, making Smaller not know what to say. The office was also silent until, while cutting his nails, Kizaru said with an exaggerated expression, the young people today are really scary. They scared the old man to death. Everyone ignore the yin and yang monsters. Okiji frowned. Is this a variety of fruit abilities, or is it some special fruit? Lieutenant General Crane said in a condensed voice, first of all, the devil fruit illustrations are compiled by the world government, and some of them are concealed even from our navy, but some people have fantasized about several fruit abilities, which are very suitable. The crowd looked over curiously. The fruit of the word spirit that speaks the law, the fruit of fantasy that creates and bestows everything, the fruit of fantasy that transforms dreams into reality, and so on. Everyone was speechless. This is too exaggerated. All in all, it is the fruit ability that permanently integrates many different types of abilities and uses them at the same time. It is a legend. Reporting to the marshal, you must have guessed wrong. I saw with my own eyes that Baiayu, who fell into the sea, jumped out unscathed, and the more he fought, the stronger he became. Smoker's dry voice came again. The crowd will be stunned. Not afraid of seawater, not fruit ability. The Crane frowned slightly. It is not possible to directly deny the ability of fruit. Perhaps some ability repels or isolates the seawater. All explanations can only catch him. Yup. After this battle, the 5 old stars will definitely know, and they will be very interested. At that time, the Navy and CP will act together. and the possibility of Beiyu's escape is very low. Thinking of this, Warring States immediately said, Smog, immediately withdraw from the battlefield and stay away from there. No, Marshal, I must get more information from Beiyu, sorry. Smoker hung up the phone bug directly. Direct resistance? The crowd will be speechless. Okiji held his forehead helplessly. After so many years, Smaller still had this stubborn temper. Still want to get promoted? In the officialdom, in addition to talent, the most important thing is the world. Chapter 20. A few hours later, the battle continued unabated. Smog's scalp became numb the more he looked. This was not a battlefield he was qualified to insert at all. Look hard. And 10 miles away, Nami, who flew back with the two girls, looked down and smiled. Look, isn't that female Navy stupid? The two women probed to look. On the deck of a Navy ship, Dusky was wielding the knife with a straight face, then withdrew the knife, looking at the sea with his head tilted cutely and thinking about something. Then, showing a look of sudden realization, he continued to swing the knife, closed the knife, and was in a daze. Nuokigao couldn't help laughing. It's cute. But why do you care about the Navy? Sister, have you forgotten how you got on the ship? Nami thought of herself as she said, and was cut down by Beiyu and then grabbed it by force. Nuokigao blushed inexplicably. She was too embarrassed to say it when she was grabbed by Beiyu. Nuokigao changed the subject. So what? So. Sigh, Beiyu is actually a very good person, and he is also very good to us. You can accept some minor shortcomings, Nami said, pointing to Dusky, who was pointing down. Hey, Beiyu's hobbies are a little special. He grabs beautiful women, but well. He hasn't touched me yet. Makino smiled softly. Nuokigao was a little stunned. Her face turned even redder. She couldn't help posing as her sister. Little girl, what are you talking about? How old are you? Are you still looking forward to what Beiyu will do to you? No, not. Nami quickly waved her hand and blushed. I mean, he took the beauty back and took good care of it. But he didn't touch it. Isn't this a strange hobby? Oh too. Nuokigao tried his best to think on the positive side. Maybe Beiyu is just appreciating beautiful things, but the way of expressing it is wrong, or he wants to give beauties a warm home. Whispering sound. Nami pouted. Who knows how many to grab, that big liar. Makino said softly. He'll touch it sooner or later, won't he? Nami and Nokagawa were also stunned. Big sister speaks so directly. After all, I'm almost 30 years old, and I've been urged to get married recently. If I didn't get on the ship, I might have a child in 2 years. Makino feels that her life has been rewritten by White Feather, but she has no lover yet, so she has nothing to regret. Nami teased. Are you waiting to give birth to my brother? Makino was puzzled. Who is your brother? It's Mr. Beiyu. Nuochi raised her forehead. Her younger sister was learning badly. Makino blushed. What's wrong with her age? But she's still a big girl after all. Forget it. None of that matters. The important thing is that Beiyu has helped us a lot, and we have to repay some. Let's start with his hobby. Speaking of this, Nami was a little bit excited, and controlled Baiyan to fly down. Go, let's go to the naval fleet to grab the beauties, and run after grabbing them. Hee hee. Makino was a little curious. Is this a pirate? It seems very interesting. Dusty? Question mark. Huh? Am I dazzled? A white cloud floated over in the sky. It's getting closer. So interesting. Why does a human hand appear on the white cloud? It looks white and tender. Is it a girl? Ah, the hands have turned into white clouds. No. Baiyan has become a chain. Damn, Dusky, was actually locked up by Baiyan. Save. No voice came out. Dusky's mouth was sealed by Baiyan, and Yansuo dragged her and threw it on Shion, floating away. The whole thing. 2 seconds. The Navy was collectively sluggish. Siki was taken away. Quick, let's inform Colonel Smog that Nami from the White Feather Pirates is here. This reaction. Great result being protected by Smoker. If Nami was malicious, Dusky would be called. Woo. Siki continued to struggle, but the cloud lock was getting tighter and tighter, full of curves. Shut up. Scream again. Kill you. Nami worked hard to learn from Beiyu and put on a fierce look, but she looked cute. Nuoki raised a black line, and then tried to say coldly, don't move, or feed the fish. You have to be good. Makino, who has been a good girl for 29 years, feels too exciting. Dusky stopped immediately. She doesn't want to make fearless sacrifices. At least she has to give a reason. Why arrest her? The four Ukis stared blankly. It's my first time, very inexperienced. The other end. Smog, who received the news, also frowned, looking at Kia on the boat not far away from time to time, his fists clenched constantly. Why did they arrest Dusky? Is there anything special about her? She's obviously stupid to die. She is my subordinate after all. Smoker is ready to take Kia. At least he has the qualifications to talk. Getting ready to fly over. Beiyu's cold voice came. If you dare to touch her, I will kill all the navies in the East China Sea, and I will do what I say. You. Damn. Smoke was smoking all over his body, and he gritted his teeth and said, what a despicable pirate. Isn't the life of other people's life in your eyes? Beiyu said with disdain. Oh, I'm sorry, in my eyes, except for my own people, others are not people. Hawkeye got offended. No, I've been offended. You're fighting with me, and still thinking about wrangling with the Navy? Let's take an intermission. Buffering the feeling of suffocation in the battle with Beiyu, Hawkeye closed his knife slightly and said coldly, your growth rate is very fast. If you continue like this, within 10 years, the basic strength of your ability may catch up with me. 10 years? Beiyu was very stunned. I will be almost 30 years old in 10 years. This is too slow. I plan to take 2 years at most. Smoker, who was about to continue roaring, was stunned. Self-esteem is greatly trampled. Hawkeye, who was about to continue to pretend to make a few sentences, lost his temper again, and couldn't help shouting, I very doubt that we are not from two worlds. Many of your perceptions are completely different from mine. 30 years old. Many talents begin to cultivate. 50s is the real peak of a strong person. Do you want to reach the peak at the age of 20, and what do you want to surpass this world in the future? It is a must. White Feather has a big heart, even if the combat power of the original anime is a bit broken in the later period. But this is the real world. From the moment he arrives, the world will move because of him. Chapter 21. Throwing away his thoughts, Beiyu replied, my goal is to transcend the world, then conquer the world, and finally, march into the new world. Seeing what Smog wanted to say, Beiyu snorted coldly, shut up you smoking man. The new world I'm talking about is not the new world you think, a group of indigenous people. I'm sorry, I said it from my heart. Why indigenous? Haven't seen the frog at the bottom of the well? Hawkeye was lost in thought. Why is Beiyu determined to the new world? And his abilities outside of that world are really terrifying. Chong. Hawkeye closed the knife and turned around. Beiyu froze for a moment. Why don't you fight? I believe your words, and I am defeated. Although Hawkeye's cold, he is very calm. You are far inferior to me in basic strength, but I am far inferior to you in overall strength. After all, your ability, forget it. I'm tired. For the first time, Hawkeye knew that some abilities were truly unlimited. Just what to restore? It just doesn't make sense, and there is absolutely no chance to resist. Also, Beiyu directly ignored several mortal attacks. So what? White Feather expressed his expectation. He seemed to feel his prime was coming. Swordsman, do what you say. Hawkeye's sharp eyes looked at Beiyu for a few seconds, but now you, regardless of your abilities, are too weak. I will come back to you in 2 years. Someone blocked one hand in the new era, then I blocked all futures in the new era. Red hair? Question mark. Hiss! Exclamation mark. Smoker felt like his brain was about to explode. He saw such an incredible scene. Hawkeye, planning to join the group? Exclamation mark. Although they didn't enter now, but they made an agreement with each other. How can that be? My mouth is full. Beiyu was also in a trance. He seriously doubted that his mouth escaped beyond the world, and he forgot how he fooled Hawkeye. Confused? Although 2 years. But if Beiyu opened a few more hangs, he might catch up with Hawkeye in a few months. After all, Wang Luffy has been promoted several times in the few days, so it is not too much for Beiyu to increase dozens of ranks in a few months. I have seen the power beyond the world from you, and only in you can I see the possibility beyond everything. Hawkeye gave White Feather an explanation. Beiyu suddenly realized. Hawkeye, don't ask for anything else. All promises of benefits are invalid for him. Only by letting him see the hope of progress can he have the opportunity to join the team. Red hair? There is no chance after the break. Other people? Hawkeye has only 2 words. Haha. Only White Feather. He saw, out of the world. Something is going to happen. Smaller realized the seriousness of the matter, and he couldn't understand the conversation between the two at all. But something really happened. He seemed to see a force that turned the world upside down, nurturing and starting to set sail in the East China Sea. Beiyu, we are back. Hee. Look at what this is. This is the gift I brought back to you. You will definitely like it. Kojima Cloud flew over, and Nami floated over happily carrying something. When she saw what Yan locked up, Beiyu looked at Nami with admiration. What are you robbing her for? What? Nami was stunned. Didn't Beiyu like it? I feel your sincerity. I like your attitude, but return the person. Beiyu said, removed the cloud lock that locked Daisuke, and then said to the overwhelmed cute girl, go back quickly. You see that Smog is in a hurry. Go back quickly. Huh? Oh. Daisuke hasn't regained consciousness so far, and walked towards Smog in a daze, her mind blank. Hawkeye looked coldly, Nami's head buzzed, and Smoker frowned. And when Daisuke walked up to Smoker, next moment, Beiyu shouted loudly, the Navy beauty in front, it is officially announced that you were robbed by me. Swipe. White Feather flashed twice. Flash moved to Daisuke's side, and brought her back. Only then did Beiyu smile with satisfaction. Let's go. Set off on the great route. Hawkeye? Question mark. Smoker? Question mark. Dusty! Exclamation mark. Oh tilde I see. Seeing this, Nami suddenly realized, and then said speechlessly, isn't it right that someone else grabs it? What kind of hobby are you? You have to grab it yourself to be happy, right? Yes, I'll be happy. Beiyu didn't explain anything, and turned to look at Smog. I took her away. I'm in a good mood today to spare your life. If you don't want to die, get out, rush. The next moment, Baiyu teleported back to the ship with Hawkeye, Nami and Dusky, and dragged Nyokigawa and Makino back. Island Cloud, get up. White Feather controls Shimayun. Blink and disappear. At this time, Smog came back to his senses. He was really shocked by Baiu's coquettish operation, and suddenly roared angrily, "Return Dusky." But looking at the flying Island Cloud, Smog is a little weak. What can he do if he catches up? Hawkeye why in the end, it's really going to happen. Island Cloud's boat. Looking at the whole ship, Hawkeye said coolly, "You just teleported up with me?" "Yup." Baiyu nodded casually. "Not only that, as long as I have been to places, I can even teleport with people and ships. So, it's absolutely safe here. There's nothing to hide." Yesterday, Baiyu took the 4 daughters and went home to have a look. One by one, Hawkeye still stared at Baiyu coolly. "It seems that you don't understand what I mean. You forced me to teleport here." I resisted. "No." "What?" Baiyu was a little surprised. Is his ability so unreasonable, completely ignoring the difference in strength? Baiyu was not embarrassed, and said calmly, "To be honest, I didn't realize until today that many of my abilities, others are irresistible, and they are all close to the rules. I originally thought that it could only be useful to my peers." Hawkeye didn't know what to say. Is this the so-called blessing of God? As far as the abilities of the few white feathers that Hawkeye knows so far, they can already make him invincible, and it is even possible to die or exhaust the rest of the generals. What did he not understand? Thinking about it this way, I suddenly felt that Baiu's future was incalculable. Maybe it really opened a new era. If that's the case, even if you can't go to the new world, you can be considered to have experienced the peak of the great era together. The beginning of a truly new era. Red hair. You're betting on the future of the Straw Hat. I bet all on White Feather's future. Let's compare. Put me down at sea. This is the pointer of the island where I am. If you are ready, come to me. Chapter 22. Give. Hawkeye handed over a permanent pointer and phone bug. He was still used to being alone. Anyway, it was very convenient for Baiyu to find him. There was no difference between here and in his home. Odaka rarely go out. Nami, study it. You must understand the permanent pointer when you go to the Great Route. Oh, here I am. After Nami took it, Baiyu looked at Hawkeye and said, "Wait for me for 3 minutes." Baiyu came to where Daisuke was. She is still bound by cloud locks, and her curves are good. Seeing Baiu's arrival, Daisuke glared at him. "Let go of me. What are you trying to do? I won't give in to the pirates." But when she saw the knife in Baiu's hand, Daisuke suddenly felt a little more painful. "My knife is in the hands of a big pirate like you, so I must be crying." And Hawkeye's knight, Whitebeard's Kong Yankee, Red-haired Griffin, Roger's ace. These knives that were taken away by the wicked, I will take them back sooner or later. "You are brave." Roger's ace didn't say anything. As for the other knives, I don't know how much Dusky has to open to do it. Maybe relying on others? Baiyu said directly, "If you want to get the knife back, first, defeat me, and second, join me." "Impossible." Dusky shook her head fiercely, and her slightly cute face became firm. "I died here today, and I was arbitrarily bullied by you, and it is impossible for me to join you." "Really? I'll think about it then." White Feather was a little silent. The air was suddenly quiet, and Daisuke glanced at Baiyu, then at her knife, looking back and forth, as if thinking about how to fight back. Dusky looked at it for a long time, and then started to be dumbfounded. "Oh, right." Baiu's opening awakened Dusky. Daisuke suddenly became more courageous, and said resolutely, "Have you figured out how to insult me? Come on, if I call out, I don't deserve to be called a swordsman." "Done." Baiyu saw her and rolled over and lay down. She's so stupid. "It's that simple." Baiyu said casually, "I made an agreement with Hawkeye that within 2 years, it is very likely that he will be allowed to board the ship." Dusky immediately sat up and glared at Baiyu. "What did you say to Hawkeye?" "No, what are you going to do?" Baiyu whispered, "Shh, don't yell, it's not good for the skin, and it's not good for the swordsmanship." Really? Thank you for reminding me." Dusky was obviously stunned, and then thanked Baiyu. "Did I stole a cute thing back?" "Well, since I'm a big pirate, it must be a huge danger. Your refusal to join is nothing more than death, and death is worthless." Baiyu kept inducing, "So, why don't you agree on the surface? Then secretly be a Navy spy, or stop me in time when I make a mistake. Then aren't you boundless?" Dusky was stunned. "It seems. Makes sense. Sacrifice one me and save thousands of civilians. Why didn't I think of it before?" Baiyu chuckled. "Come on board, my companion." "Huh?" Dusky nodded subconsciously. Baiyu handed over the knife. "From today onwards, we are family. If I make a big mistake, please guide me in time." "Thank you in advance, dear Miss Dusky." "No. You're welcome." Dusky stood up and returned the salute. But when she looked up, she found out Baiyu had disappeared. "No, how did I join the pirates?" Dusky felt his head dizzy, a little overwhelmed, and his face turned red and white for a while. Dusky rubbed her swollen head and said in distress, Since there is no escape, this is the only way to do it. I hope it can lead him to the path of justice. Mother said that when you have a headache, you can just sleep. Yes, sleep now. Dusty, fall asleep. 3 seconds to fall asleep. Ding. Congratulations to the host for robbing Daisuke to become a crew member, subordinate, and getting a chance to draw a lottery. Do you want to draw a lottery? Let's start. Ding. Congratulations to the host for drawing an item. Advanced Narring 100 nativity rings. This kind of familiar and unfamiliar words instantly pulled Bayu's memory into a world of fire. It's the space storage ring. Ding. Trigger the optimization mechanism. Is it optimized? Optimization. Ding. Optimization is complete. Advanced Neji, 100,000 cubic meters of space. Sturdy, indestructible and can withstand space cuts. Collection. Consume a small amount of physical strength, and each time you collect items, you must not exceed your own strength. Range, according to strength, at least 1 meter. Recycling. The host can recycle across space remotely. Very simple. Bayu is basically satisfied. 100, enough for the girls to share in the future. But for sure, Miss Nami will definitely be overjoyed, but she has been distressed for a long time and has nowhere to hide her money. Time room. Experience guard physique Dan or something will do. What Bayu is worried about now is the strength of the girls. After all, he can't be by their side all the time. Even if the spatial coordinates are left, it is sometimes difficult to support, because it is not known when something happened. When Bayu walked out of the room, Daisuke, who slept for dozens of seconds, also came out. It's a benefit. Bayu took out a book and handed it to Hawkeye. Welfare. Hawkeye was a little interested, took a look at it, and there were 4 words on the cover: domineering and true solution. Domineering secrets? Hawkeye's expression is slightly strange. I know you've seen too many domineering cultivation techniques, but this one is different. Makes you stronger faster. Like this kind of domineering real solution, Bayu will give the younger brothers who work in the future, and the stronger the strength, the better the work. As for the ring and the like, they are all for the girls. Bayu said, don't spread rumors. Well, take me down. Hawkeye's pace quickened a bit. He didn't look at it now, and when he was bored rowing and flipping through the sea, his expression management went out of control. White Feather manipulated Shima Yun and dragged Hawkeye and his boat down to the sea. Hawkeye shouted, although I haven't joined yet, but in order to make you grow faster, so wait and read the newspaper. Bayu. So what, brother? What do you mean? Don't fool me like the Warring States period. Bayu felt something was wrong. Hawkeye should stop hating him. Although he wasn't afraid, there were always a few people he wanted to make friends with. For example, Ming brother. Brother Ming, I see that the sisters of your family are destined to me. How about making friends? For example, the Queen, Big Sister. Daughter Island will be our common home in the future, and we will guard it together. Especially, Mr. K. The #1 teacher in the pirate world is none other than my teacher Kai, and Bayu is still thinking about upgrading in the past. Watching Hawkeye leave, Bayu couldn't help but guess. Eagle Eye. The 6th child, looks like he has big eyebrows and big eyes. Maybe he is thinking about how to train me. Chapter 23. Wait for Hawkeye to leave. Bayu took out an extremely delicate ring and looked at the girls. Nami, Kia, Nuakagao, Makino, and Daisuke all looked over, looking at this scene in amazement. Bayu held the ring and looked at what they were going to do. Thinking of something beautiful, Kia's face immediately flushed red. Big brother Bayu. Is that a ring in your hand? Right. Seeing what the girls had misunderstood, Bayu chuckled and briefly introduced the role of Neji. Before she could finish speaking, Nami rushed over, but she was empty. I also want. Big brother Bayu. Do you have mine? Please give me one by all means, thank you. This kind of storage ring surprised the girls, and they were eager to ask for it. Seeing this scene, Bayu was ready to enjoy the life of the emperor. Brother by Tilda. Nami blinked, twisted her waist, pulled Chen to lean over, hugged Bayu's arm and said, for others. They want to accept the ring. Bayu's eyes brightened, and she whispered, look at your performance. How do you behave? Nami stole a glance at Kyo and the others, and whispered. Looking at Kyo and Nuakagao who were eager to try not far away, as well as the dumb Daisuke, Bayu looked upright. Look what you look like now. Have you exercised today? Are you lazy again? And you guys? Hey, sane. Nami turned around. Then Bayu's words came in a low voice. At 10 o'clock. The room will wait for me. What? The 3 girls exclaimed when they saw Nami, and then ran away with a blushing face. Bayu smiled, walked over to Kyo and handed over a ring. I have prepared yours long ago. This is the most special one. There are good things in it. Thank you, big brother Bayu. Kia's big eyes turned into crescent moons when she smiled. Gently squeezed Kia's pretty face. Bayu looked at Nuakagao and Makino who were expecting. It won't work if you don't practice. You are the weakest here. For 10 days, I want to see your efforts. White Feather is also a last resort. Kia knows that she has worked hard, but Nuakagao and Makino have no sense of crisis. What should they do if they are in danger? Well, I see. Nuakagao and Makino are not lost. They are motivated only if they have goals. The speed of Makino's integration into the group was much faster than Baiyu thought. The good girl has been doing it for a long time. Who knows if there is a little devil in her heart. You too. You can't even be domineering. You're too weak, you know. For Dusky, White Feather wants to spur. She looks like Gina, not to mention all of Gina's talents, at least half of it. Yes, sir, Dusky replied subconsciously, and then a little embarrassed. Baiyu expressed his satisfaction. You don't need to stick to the title of captain. I like different titles. It's okay to call me a marshal. Dusky. It is rumored that the Warring States Marshal will definitely give me a bounty of 1 billion. After arranging several girls controlling Shima Yun to fly towards Upside Down Mountain, Baiyu also started daily practice. First, practice the practice method. Try to train your body first like Mr. Kai. Night. Koi room. When he opened the Naring, he saw the so-called good things that Baiyu had prepared inside. Kai's face turned red. Maid outfit. Nurse outfit. There are also a lot of clothes, piled up like a hill. Kia's whole person is not well. Big brother Baiyu, when did he buy it? Kia was shy and fell into doubt. Zailuoba village should not sell it. When exactly? The other side. Nami's room. Nervousness, apprehension, anticipation, panic and other emotions were intertwined on Nami's face, waiting in the room. It's 9 o'clock. It's 10 past 9. Wow. It's 9:30. It's 9:40. Whirring. Nami fell asleep nervously. When Baiyu came in and looked at Nami who was sleeping, he was a little stunned. How could this night owl go to bed so early? It wasn't intentional, was it? Little lazy cat? Little stupid cat? Lightly pinching Nami's nose, looking at Nami who didn't respond, Baiyu suddenly smiled. Although you haven't gotten much stronger, but you've pinched your nose, it won't be a shame if you don't wake up. HMPH, big liar. Nami called her habitually, opened her eyes and wrinkled her nose and said, why don't you secretly, just pretend I'm asleep? I'm nervous. What are you nervous about? Baiyu made a surprised expression. I came to your room to give you the ring. You, big liar. Nami stood up angrily. At this moment, Thin was dropped. Baiyu couldn't help but take a few more glances. The little girl was very well prepared, and she was so angry. Seeing Nami exclaiming and hiding back under the quilt, Baiyu chuckled lightly. What are you hiding? I saw everything, and I came in too. Baiyu, have you washed it yet? I just came here after washing. Don't worry, I understand. What do you understand? Who do you understand? Don't change the subject. Look at your ring. You're changing the subject. I'll accept the ring first. Who do you understand? Kia hasn't. I know. Kia still told you this? She's still young. That I asked for a long time after grinding. Okay, even Kia is bullying. Watch me help Kia bully it back. Speed up 100 times. The night is beautiful tonight. A meteor streaks across the night sky, as if shining the whole world. Beauty is performing. Chapter 24. The next day, in the confusion of the three daughters of Kia, Miss Nami did not come to breakfast for the first time, and Dusky has consciously started to exercise. With Kia's questioning, Baiyu said casually, are you sick? Kia, go have a look and restore her body directly, just before 10 o'clock last night. Nami, big liar is so bad. Obviously so painful. Do you want her to do it again? If you use your power like this, you will cry. Seeing Kia leave, Nuoki said, according to Nami's plan, if the direction is right, at Shima Yun's speed, it will probably be upside down the mountain tomorrow. Do you want to stop? Upside down mountain. Baiyu thought about it. There is nothing to see there. Looking down at a high altitude, Baiyu can leave a space coordinate by the way. No, take Kia to study medicine. Stop there for a while, and choose the middle one of the 7 routes. This route is quite interesting. When Nami wakes up, go straight to Whiskey Peak and buy a permanent pointer to Alabaster. What a small garden, a drum island. If you have the opportunity to go shopping in the future, if it happens to drift by, then leave the space coordinates by the way. The main thing is to keep the coordinates. Baiyu hopes that the coordinates of the space will be kept all over the world, wherever he wants to go. Baiyu suddenly looked up into the distance. Nuokigao asked curiously, what's wrong? I seem to hear someone discussing me. The sky is empty. No, it seems very far away. Maybe it's an illusion. Well, I'll make you a cup of coffee. At the same time, Marin Vando, office of the Marshal, the Warring States looked solemnly at the generals currently in the headquarters, and said solemnly, today's important meeting, the first theme, capture Baiyu alive. Generals? A small number of lieutenant generals are curious, who is Baiyu? After all, Baiyu had only been famous for a day or two, and there were too many generals who were so busy that they couldn't take care of eating. It was normal that no one knew him. This is the task explained above. Cooperate with CP. The task requirements must be completed. Multiple abilities, not afraid of sea water. It's very interesting up there. As the words of the Warring States fell, the pot suddenly exploded. The last time this absolutely necessary task of cooperating with CP seemed to be destroying a Hara. It's scary. Huang Yuan said casually, this time it should be none of his business, and no one will pay attention to a few words. right? But the warring states looked over with sharp eyes. The above request requires your cooperation, Pulslino. This. Can't I do it alone? Kizaru chose to advance instead of retreat. But this time, the warring states period was very firm. We have let go of the unknown number of big pirates entering the new world. If we can solve it sooner, there will be less hidden dangers. It used to be all kinds of uncertainty, which led to the growth of the big pirates one by one. But this time, I can tell you for sure that Baiyu, who was once dubbed the Demon King by me, definitely has the potential to become the king. It's even grown. This time, there is no room for loss. Seeing that the warring states period was so determined, Huang Yuan suddenly showed a bitter face. During a good vacation, he had to come over to join in the fun. He really wanted to slap himself. Have you read it all? After everyone read Baiyu's information, facing everyone's eyes, Zhang Guodao said, those can only prove his potential and future, but one thing has already proved his qualifications as a strong man. Morgan's just spoke to me. Someone contacted him in person last night to release the news. The newspaper has already been released. The world's greatest swordsman, Aishikai Bukai, Hawkeye Mihawk, is officially confirmed. Join the White Feather Pirates. Occupation, Shield. White Feather, 6th? Whoa. There was an uproar. Even Kizaru put down his nail clippers, no longer terrifying one bite at a time, but with a dignified light in his eyes. What is a shield? You are not strong enough to qualify. You are not loyal enough to qualify. You are not qualified to sacrifice your life for the captain. Otherwise, you are the object of ridicule of all pirates. Just like the strongest shield in CP0, there has never been any precedent for betrayal. The strongest shield is not the CP0 squad leader or something. For decades, only a few other pirate groups have appeared with shields. They are all top powerhouses, but they all died for the captain. Therefore, sometimes the shield is the honor of some pirates, but not many people can bear it. Zhang, as a rare female great swordsman, Lieutenant General Jian, the beauty code name Tota subconsciously drew his sword. What a shield. Is it Baiyu? What qualifications do you have to make the world's largest swordsman work for you? Totu's tone contained disapproval. Of course, it's more of a curiosity. She really didn't know Baiyu before, and Tota was still digesting the sudden bombardment of information. Another big news came suddenly. That's the number one in the world. If you don't forcefully crush and defeat it in the field he is good at, how can you make the number one in the world admire? But if even Hawkeye can be overcome by strength, then he is not worthy of the title of the strongest swordsman, which represents absolute rather than bending. There must be something in Baiyu that Hawkeye wants to get or see after giving everything for it. What is it? Totu's words were heard by everyone. An unknown creature named Jiaji subconsciously buttoned his nose and said casually, maybe Baiyu is his son? Suddenly the air was quiet. Noticing everyone's eyes, Jiaji Chad didn't care. Why are you looking at me? Am I right? If no one is trained, why does Baiyu have such strength at this age? Anyone has a growth experience, even if the strong are hidden in the folk. We all have backups, don't we? But Baiyu doesn't have it, and the CP can't find it. That is to cultivate in secret. Since the golden lion is fake, then the eagle eye may be real. Makes sense. What the fuck? Well known. There is no woman in the eyes of the eagle. There is no woman in the heart. And the sword is drawn naturally. Unless someone is drugged, it is difficult for Hawkeye to think about offspring. Chapter 25. Realize this. Jiaji changed his mouth and said, Teacher, when the disciple grows up, it becomes the teacher's hope. It is normal to fight for the disciple. Warring states did not refute. Everything is possible. Even the golden lion I made up is possible. After all, there is no news of him. So, catching Baiyu alive, plus the accident of Hawkeye, has greatly increased the difficulty. The above is mainly about Baiyu's various abilities and origins, but we can't let Baiyu escape for this so-called curiosity. So, when necessary, be sure to kill. Apart from Kaib and Totu, you will also go. Besides, Garp, who is about to reach the East China Sea, will join you. Everyone was stunned again. The battle against Baiyu is too big, and there is also the cooperation of CP. Don't it be Chen Kang's secret attack and a sneak attack on the four emperors? Just this lineup. Going to a wave of the four emperors is completely no problem. Warring States understands everyone's astonishment. But the more he thinks about Baiyu's various abilities and potentials, the more he feels like a threat. Sometimes, the ones with great potential are more threatening than the strong ones in their current years. Like Roger Carp, it was sent to the town, saving him from running around. Lieutenant General Crane asked, do you need to increase the bounty for Baiyu's group? The Warring States period thought for a while and gave up. The time interval was too short, and the Warring States period did not think that Baiyu could last long. Once you determine the route of Baiyu, act immediately. Yes, Marshal. Well, let's start the next topic, changes to some regulations in Kyuhai. Blue sky and white clouds. The newsbird, which started in the morning, has been sold all over the world and started to cause a sensation around the world. And when White Feather dragged the island cloud, stopping over the upside-down mountain, when the girls exclaimed for the upside-down mountain, A news bird passed by. What? 500 berry? Why don't you go grab it? Nami angrily bargained with the news bird, but the news bird's eyes showed a small look of whether she wanted to buy it or not. Very well, I remember you. Nami paid for the newspaper with a little heartache, turned around and ran to Bayu's side. When Whitefeather glanced at the newspaper, helplessly sighed. It was a wrong payment after all. Hawkeye, you old sixth. The newspaper is clearly an exclusive report from Eagle Eye. The world's largest swordsman is very good. No matter what major forces, will be interested to take a second look. This look. The world is frying. Aunt? Well, Auntie is still having sex. This day, she was either eating or sleeping, or she was having sex, and Karen the others didn't have time to inform her. And on the island of ghosts, since Kaido didn't know where to go to commit suicide, Jin looked at the newspaper and fell into deep thought. The tone was a little more serious. Informed Jack, don't wait for Beiyu in Chambord, let him come back, immediately. Quinn rarely quarreled with Jin, but sighed with emotion. The newcomers are so unreasonable, aren't they posing as Hawkeye? Jin didn't care. He suddenly felt that the big time was coming. Moby Dick. The same silence. As a swordsman, Beaster kept touching the knife and murmured, "You are Hawkeye. You are Hawkeye. The strongest swordsman in the world." Beaster is convinced. But now, I suddenly feel a little angry. An 18-year-old kid actually made you bend over for him. What do you want the other swordsmen to think? Beaster's anger was indisputable, which attracted Marco's comfort. Don't think about it. There are too many hard-to-prevent abilities in the world. Maybe Hawkeye is deceived, controlled and trapped. La. Children, the world of the strong always only looks at the result, not the process. Seeing his sons talking, Whitebeard took the opportunity to steal a sip of wine, and then laughed. No matter how the young man did it, but the result is like this. We can't underestimate him anymore. Seeing each other for a day is like every 3 autumns. The first time Beiyu became famous all over the world, countless people were dissatisfied, and the second time, it shocked too many people. Many bounty hunters who were preparing to form a group to brush Whitefeathers stopped for it. And in the Red Hair Pirates, that's a complete frying pan. For Hawkeye, the whole group is very familiar with each other. After all, Hawkeye often comes to drink together, and everyone has a good relationship. There are also many swordsmen who have been instructed by Eagle Eye and the Redhead. Every time Hawkeye came, he had to invite him to board the ship again, and he never gave up. But this time, when the Red Hair was puzzled, horrified, shocked, and angry, he called Hawkeye to the Queen. Hawkeye replied coolly, "You once said that you gambled your left arm on a new era. Then, I bet my future on the new era." Red Hair. Does Whitefeather have Nika fruit? Is Beiyu the person in the prophecy? Is Whitefeather related to Joey Boy? The Redhead wanted to refute, but he didn't know where to start, so he could only say bitterly, "Alas, it seems that the more I mess up, the worse I get. Even a newcomer can't compare. Can you still come out for a drink in the future?" Hawkeye said directly, "Send me the location. I'll go over now." "Hey, is it so free?" "HMPH, I'm Hawkeye." "Hey, I can give you freedom too." The Redhead is envious and jealous. "Whitefeather, I remember you." Hawkeye joins the Whitefeather Pirates. Serving the shield? General for emperors? Pray for them not to encounter Whitefeather? Other Kyuhai? There is no chance of a death battle? Those who are not afraid of death will challenge Beiyu? I would like to call the Demon King Beiyu the strongest? Above, Whitefeather condensed the information. "Hawkeye, you know how to play. Are you looking for some excitement for me? If you haven't joined, you're just playing wildly." Beiyu was convinced and hated him again. After the last time the world was the enemy. This time, the whole world is the enemy. The side provocation again and again. Maybe Whitebeard has written a small notebook for Beiyu in his heart. "Humphrey, Beiyu, my concubine remembers you. If you have the guts, come to the desert to find Lozi. Come on. I'll make you the most perfect zombie." If you want to travel, where would Beiyu want to go? Now, Dressrosa. Inside the magnificent palace hall. Sweep, slap, slap. Looking at the newspaper and the collected information on Beiyu, Doflamingo laughed loudly in the main hall with the steps that he did not recognize his 6 relatives. Multiple abilities in one. Not afraid of seawater? What secret is there on you? I'm more and more interested in you. The eagle-eyed guy looks serious. Dover restrained his smile and fell into contemplation. He naturally understood Hawkeye, a top-level powerhouse who was extremely cold and uninterested in everything. How many people have asked him to come aboard? Go and play. If he is not tied to the boat when he is weak, then when he grows up, there is no chance at all. Blur. The phone worm rang, an unfamiliar number. Dove raised his eyebrows slightly, and answered the channel. "Which one? Is that Brother Ming?" "I'm Beiyu." If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, link in the description. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.